Welcome into our Friday show, everybody. I'm not the voice you probably expected to hear first today. I am Skraby, Matt Skraby, and I'm going to be filling in for Gwynn and Chris all day today. But we have a good show ahead for you. I have Jake Garegnani from CBS Sports, right? CBS 8, right here next to me. I'll introduce him in just a second. But we're going to get him on camera as well. So just hold on for that. There was a lot of conversation about what he should be wearing when he came into studio. So I want to make sure everybody gets up there and sees him. Just go to youtube.com/@Gwynn and Chris SD, or you could search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube. And if you want to chat or anything like that, have questions for us, you can go to the YouTube chat and send them in there. But we do have a lot planned today. Like I said, Jake's going to be in here for the first hour, 2 to 3, and then Kirk Kenney's going to come in from 3 to 4. And Kirk Kenney gave me the countdown topic for today, and only Kirk Kenney would come up with the topic of top 5 child actors. So we're going to be doing that, and both of us are going to have very, very different actors because he's, of a different era. And so I grew up with certain child actors. He grew up with certain child actors. We'll do that. We'll also preview the Aztecs game against Boise State. Plus, later, we have a Klug versus the Fans. We have a Big Five. And then at 5:40, you're going to hear from LZ Harrington, Aztecs basketball team. He's the freshman that in the first 2 games has taken the team not by surprise. They knew he was going to be good, but he has been incredible here for the first couple games here to start the season. And with that, I will bring in Jake Garegnani. Hello, Jake. Thank you for joining us today.
Mr. Skraby, I appreciate it. I'm very excited to join you every opportunity I get. It really kind of brightens my month each time.
It brightens your month, you say?
It really does. Hang on, I got to get this camera. There we go. Now I'm set. See, should have gone with the sweater vest, man. This t-shirt's looking
he wanted to go sweater vest, but it didn't work that way. And I'm not sure. We have some sort of audio going on in the studio. We'll figure this out one day. We'll figure it out one day. I'm just going to pull the curtain back real quick because we went into log in Jake to his computer, and then everything restarted. It said this may take a few minutes, which means they wiped everything. So we're kind of struggling with that a little bit. So we'll get that together.
There's no struggle at all.
Yeah. Can you see me sweating? And look at Adam over there. He is like sweating as well, too. Adam Klug in studio. Only boss I know that would come in and run a show instead of just throwing it off to someone else, which is what other bosses in the past have done.
I can make my best attempt at running this thing if you'd like.
Would you? I mean, do you have any experience doing the button pushing?
Absolutely not. Zero. That's what could make it fun.
Yeah, you're qualified. You're qualified. That's how you do it.
I officially got the job. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Frank Marchese.
Oh, we got Frank coming in to fix things.
We got the whole
when
squad.
Big Frank comes in, you know that everything is broken.
There we go.
He goes.
Thank you, good sir.
Thank you, Frank. No, I'm saying it's broken because you come to fix it.
Look at this death stare again.
I know. He's death staring me because I gave him a compliment. Jeez.
Frank, you're the best. Love you, bro.
Thank you, Frank.
You know everything's going wrong.
He's not understanding the compliment that I gave him.
That's love right there.
That is love right there.
I'm gonna fix his camera.
All right.
Oh, God.
Anyway, we'll get started now. Things are underway. Remember to listen around 5:30 for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game with all of the fan staff. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. All right. Big 3 weeks for the Padres. There's been a lot that has been going on with this team. And I was driving down here today, and I was just kind of stacking up all the different events. And I'm like, man, that is a full off season of news in about 3 weeks. So quickly, you have the Padres losing in the playoffs to the Cubs. Then you have Mike Schilt retiring about a week later. Then I guess the next big news item would be that Craig Stammen became manager. And now you have the Seidler family saying that they're going to explore a sale of the team. And I've thought a lot about this sale, and I'm going to talk about that later. But when you found this out, because I texted you yesterday, you said your day got really busy when all this news came out. So what were your first kind of thoughts when you heard this news?
I initially kind of felt lied to almost. I was looking up some of our old video out at spring training February of this year and eventually ended up posting some of it to social media, but Eric Grupner, CEO of the San Diego Padres, had gone out there and told the media and said, this team is not up for sale. This team will not be sold. And then later in spring training, I asked Rob Manfred about John Seidler taking over as the control person. And he said that John shares the vision of Peter and that he is in it for the long haul. Now, with that being said, plenty can change from February to November of a year, right? You obviously have lawsuit going on. You have a lot that took place. But to have this idea that, hey, we're all out here, we're sticking with Peter's vision, this ownership group is here to stay. And then the Padres did their thing. They won 90 games, went to the postseason. John Seidler was named control person. You felt like there was that little bit of stability, right? Okay, we have Peter's vision in front of us. We're going to continue to move forward with what he built. And then this kind of bombshell yesterday. So there was an initial shock and then a little bit like, what have we been talking about for the last year and change? And then you kind of start to think, well, maybe things did go a little bit sour. Maybe the honorable thing for John and Sheil and the Seidler family to really see out Peter's vision is to go through with this sale, is to find somebody that's as passionate as Peter was, is to not have kind of the muddiness of the Seidler family situation going on, and to hopefully sell this team to somebody that shares that great vision.
You know, I think we all went through that range of emotions. I definitely did yesterday because I was like, what?
Yeah.
Kind of like you, like, what? We've been told this whole time. But like you said, things change over time. And I'm more of an optimistic person when it comes to decisions being made. And now we go forward. And this could be a really good thing for the Padres. It could. And I don't really want, it's like a relationship where someone's staying in it just to, you know, stay in it. I don't really want ownership that is not fully 100% behind supporting this team. And I'm not saying that they weren't, because they did put a team that went to the playoffs. But in the end, I think that if they bring someone in who is going to extend Peter's vision, or at least understand what Peter wanted to accomplish as the owner of the Padres, then I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. We could get someone in here. I'm hearing rumors from Woodsy about Stan Kroenke buying the Padres. That would be cool. Joe Lacob, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He owns the Warriors and he owns the Valkyries. He's interested in getting into baseball. So this team, and tell me if I'm wrong, but this team and this team sale is so much different than all of the other teams and team sales that we've seen, because there is so much opportunity for someone who buys this team to make hand over fist money.
It's pretty atypical for a sale. You're selling a jewel and not a diamond in the rough, which is kind of the saying that's been thrown around, right? Like everything the Padres and what Peter built is perfect for this situation. You have a top 2 fan base in all of MLB. You have a lease at the #1 ballpark in all of the country and in Canada as well, that goes through 2033. So I think there's obviously the fear of the unknown, which again, I've heard people chat about that, who's going to come in and who's going to take over this team. I think a lot of the bad owners you see in sports these days, Skraby, are the ones that have been sitting in that position for a long time and have been able to sit there and collect their paychecks and not have to, you know, the Dick Monforts of the world,
totally.
Those guys that have just been able to sit there for a long, long time. I don't think, and there are anomalies out there, I don't think that somebody would spend $2.5 billion on a product that is a really, really good product just to let it sit there and rot. People that are going to spend that kind of money on a product would like to invest more into it, would like to continue that product to grow. And the way sports trends have gone with franchises and only making money, it would just be not logical for somebody to buy the San Diego Padres and run them into the ground. So yeah. I think this idea of it being like a jewel to buy, it's going to be a hot commodity. And I think the owner you're going to get in here is going to see it that way.
I agree with you about the other owners in sports. So we're going to talk about Woody Johnson a little bit later of the Jets, because he is angry that the NFLPA report cards are published, and he was the one who asked for them to be suppressed.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, because he got an F by his players. I'll go through some of that a little bit later. But the Padres also have, you know, they have a core that they have already assembled. An owner can literally just step in and assume a team that's a playoff team. And I see that as another huge part of this sale, as not the shiny object, because the shiny object is all the money you're going to make on the concerts at Petco Park and all that stuff. But I think that what they're going to do is just they're going to invigorate the team and in the fan base. A new owner coming in, spending a lot of money, showing I am San Diego. I love San Diego. Now, I don't necessarily think there's anybody in San Diego. There's no like rich person billionaire that's going to buy the Padres. So it's probably going to have to come from outside. But I just want someone to come in here and care. I do not want investment groups. Do not want an investment group to buy this. Now, if it's an investment group that has good intentions, that's fine. But I don't want just some paycheck or check come to the Padres. They're like, yep, thank you. We'll go the other way now.
I think if John Seidler sticks to his word, which take that for what it is to whomever is out there and reading what John Seidler wrote, their goal was to find an owner that shared the vision, right? So if they do their due diligence and they are truly trying to honor Peter and they sell this team to the right owner, then it won't be any issue for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of money at stake. Greed can often get in the way, and it's impossible to predict what will happen. So I to try and guess the outcome is impossible, but everything we just laid out, you feel at least somewhat comfortable that it'd be a good person coming in to take over the Padres.
Yeah, this is not a team that's terrible. This is not a team that doesn't have a tradition in the last 6 years of winning. Like, I can understand if people were kind of bummed if this team was losing and not good, because then Peter's vision is completely out the window, but that's not the case. So I think that maybe some of the fans out there that are pretty angry about this, I don't blame you for being angry or frustrated or annoyed or anything like that. I would just think about the long-term gains that we could see from this. And that's how I'm going to look at it, because I have to find something in my head to go off of.
And I think that's okay. Like, trying to stop people's emotion throughout this would be a silly idea, because people should be able to be angry. People should be able to feel sad for the situation. The reality of it is that Peter Seidler's vision of this being a generational asset in his family is going to go out the window if they sell this team. That part is very sad. So be in those emotions. That's quite all right. There's okay to feel anger, being what I brought up earlier in February, being told that this team was not going to be sold, and now it looks like it will be sold. So I think sitting in all those emotions is quite all right for the fans in the fan base, and trying to say otherwise would be silly.
Yeah. We're here with Jake Garegnani of CBS 8. I am Skraby, and Gwynn and Chris are going to be out today, so I'm going to be filling in. We have Kirk Kenney coming in at 3 p.m. And here's what Rob Manfred said in a statement, and Dennis Lynn tweeted this out as a part of his article. But Rob Manfred said about this sale, quote, "I am certain that John Seidler will select a new owner who will continue the Padres winning tradition in San Diego." Very generic quote. Very generic quote. And like you said, you asked him.
Yeah.
You stood in front of him. He told you the team was not going to be for sale. I don't know that I could blame Rob Manfred, because he's not in the day-to-day things with the Padres, but what I'm trying to say is I don't believe that he has the best interest of San Diego and the Padres in mind.
He has the best interests of whatever's going to make MLB the most money.
Exactly.
I mean, like,
that's his job.
The commissioner of MLB it's a job to be a politician. So I would not take what he says anywhere, to be honest. Like,
I know.
I mean, I guess it's good to hear him say that, but what does it mean? Probably absolutely nothing. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, there's like no way you can predict what's going to happen. You just have to let this play out.
Mm-hmm.
And those raw emotions are going to be out there because of it.
All right, we've got the sale. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. But, I mean, another big news item that Monday, Craig Stammen introduces the Padres manager. I've said it's a risky hire. You like the sale, we have no idea what's going to happen with Craig Stammen. Although I am seeing the writing on the wall that baseball's different now, and their managerial hires are going to be younger. They're going to be less experienced, and they're going to be, I think most importantly, they're going to be used to this world of social media, because I think some of the other older managers we're seeing are stepping away from the game. Mike Schultz said it. He said that social media was a lot, and it was one of the factors as to why he retired. But going back to Craig Stammen, I think his playing experience is going to help a lot, but I'm just not sure how he is at managing a group of people.
There's a lot with the Craig Stammen hire. I think, first of all, the biggest reason, in my opinion, the San Diego Padres hired Craig Stammen is he was already in the front office with the staff. He understood the vision of where the Padres want to head. He probably understood that the Padres were going to go up for sale too. If I'm being completely honest,
Probably.
Craig Stammen probably knew what was coming next. So they were able to hire a guy that knew the rockiness of what may come throughout this sale. On top of all that, you got a guy who played 13 seasons in MLB, 6 with the San Diego Padres. We, over and over have stated the guys he's played with on this team. He knows them well. I'm not a person who worries about the relationships like, oh, how could Craig tell Manny what to do because they played together? Dude, these are big leaguers. They know how to act. They know how to play the game. I don't think it's going to be the situation where Craig has to boss anybody around. Craig has to hold their feet to the fire. Like, this is MLB. That just doesn't really take place. So you got a guy that understands how to manage a staff, how to manage a bullpen. You got a guy that understands the vision of where the Padres want to go. Will he be good at this job? I think he said as much. He doesn't know either.
And I know that didn't comfort fans, but I'd rather him be honest. I mean, there's a reality to that. There's a reality to him sitting there thinking, man, am I going to be good at this? Because he's never done it. And I think he has confidence to know that he can do it because he took the job. And I'm going to go forward hoping he can do it, but he's going to have to prove it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every new manager has to prove it. And there's this trend around baseball where a lot of guys without experience are being hired.
The Craig Albernazes, the Blake Buteras.
You see it all over the place where now people are prioritizing comfortability within the clubhouse, comfortability within the front office over years and years of managerial experience, like we've seen with Bob Melvin. So Craig Stammen's going to fit what the Padres want to do. Whether it all works together or not, I don't know. One thing that I found kind of interesting, Matt, that popped up when I was at Stammen's press conference, AJ Preller talked over and over about trying to have longevity in the managerial role, right? Somebody that's going to be there for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
Since
he wants a manager that's going to be there for 10 years.
I didn't walk away from that press conference, and I hope I'm dead wrong. I didn't walk away from that press conference thinking, oh, Craig Stammen's in it for the long haul. Craig's an unbelievable guy. But he's a huge family man. He has 4 kids. He talked a ton about that. I don't want to use the word convince, but they had to sell the job to him. In fact, AJ Preller got on a Zoom with Audrey, Craig's wife, and had to say, like, this is what's going to happen. This is what the role will be. And then Craig said, hey, once I kind of worked all that out, I was head first in. But I just wonder when the full season starts to tax on a guy and you've got 4 young kids at home and you're not seeing it just may be a quick assumption by me, but I didn't walk away going, oh, yeah, that's the guy that's going to be in that chair for 10 years. And again, I hope I'm dead wrong, but it just felt that way a little bit.
No, I mean, you were there. You felt the energy in the room. So you are allowed to share your feelings on that, sir. We're talking to Jake Garegnani, CBS 8. We're going to head to our first break of the day. When we get back, we have some more Padres to talk about. I want to get your thoughts on some of the roster moves that are coming up. Also, you're going to answer this question. Do you think Craig Stammen is just an AJ Preller puppet? That is your question. I'm Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Back shortly on 97.3 The Fan. There's Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are League 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after
It was a 5-footer.
after our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Skraby, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him. But we all had a good time. There's Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Skraby. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are just leaving 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after
It was a 5-footer.
after our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Skraby, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him. But we all had a good time. There's Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. Back here with Jake Garegnani, CBS 8, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Matt Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Adam Klug here in the studio as well. We got a couple comments in the break that I wanted to read, but I left everyone with a question that Jake was going to answer. And the question was, do you think that Craig Stammen is an AJ Preller puppet?
People love the word puppet.
They do.
They love
They
to
do.
throw around the word puppet as if AJ Preller is writing the lineup card and AJ Preller is going down there and telling Mike Schilt and Bob Melvin, this is exactly who you're going to put in the 6th inning, and then in the 7th you'll do this. It's just not the reality of how the San Diego Padres are run in any way. In fact, it's been talked about many a times that the Padres give their managers tons of freedom.
That's what I was going to say.
More so than a lot in Major League Baseball. So I think, like I talked about before, they hired a guy that shared the same belief in where the franchise is wanting to go. If you want to call that a puppet, I guess go ahead. Pick your verbiage, but it's somebody that shares the belief of where the franchise wants to go. I promise you, if it is July 31st, that might be the All-Star break. If it is
June 30th,
if it is a random game, June 30th, and it's a Tuesday or whatever, and Craig Stammen needs to make a change in the bullpen or decides to have a pinch hitter come out, that is 100% Craig Stammen and his staff's choice. This idea of a puppet it's just not true in my opinion. You found a guy that aligns with where the team's going. You didn't have a guy that AJ Preller goes, I can manipulate him every way I want.
Yeah, that's not really what I don't think he's sitting there at the interview table. I do think it's a little strange, though, that Craig Stammen was the interviewer before he became the interviewee.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine some of those candidates were like, what? The guy who interviewed me is now the guy with the job. Did he steal my answers? But really, like you said, I don't think it's possible to be a puppet in this day and age, because you would know if AJ Preller was making pitching decisions in the 7th inning of a June 30th game. So the whole puppet thing, like I keep getting DMs. Oh, well, they're just getting a yes man. Maybe he is. I think he will push back on certain things because that's what his job is to push back on things.
It's also the first thing that AJ Preller said in his opening statement when they introduced Craig Stammen. Was one of the things that stood out about Craig Stammen is we had a meeting with all our bosses. This is back when Peter was in the meeting, and Craig spoke up and actually spoke against what Peter and AJ had to say. So Craig, he led with the fact that Craig will talk against what the typical idea of what the Padres want to go is. So it's one thing that, like, Craig Stammen is clearly not just going to be the complete yes man. I think there can be two things that are true. You can have alignment, but have somebody that also can push back a little bit. We tried the whole completely different thing with Bob Melvin. Y'all know how that went. You really do. So we tried I'm going to do everything my way
once, and then they didn't make the playoffs with maybe their best team in the last 6 years.
So, I mean, and if that's what you want, I'm just saying those are kind of the two situations that they've done.
Yeah, here's a comment from Wesley. Is there belief the Padres had to settle for Stammen because when the candidates were told potential sale of the team, they declined? I have not heard anything like this. I haven't seen that reported. I don't even know if the Padres had to disclose that to someone until they really got to the final stages of the process. Maybe. What do you think? Do you think that when they in the first interview, they're like, hey, we might sell the team. That's on the table?
I doubt it. Without being a fly on the wall,
yeah, it's really
hard to have the answers to that. But, Adam and I were talking during the break and talking about what was the home run candidate out there that they didn't we had this guy, but we settled for Craig Stammen.
I'll tell you, Skip Schumacher, but he was already taken.
Skip Schumacher was already high.
He was already with the Rangers.
I just and I know the name Albert Pujols wants to be thrown out there. I promise there's a reason that Albert Pujols had 3 jobs pass him up. That's where I'll leave that at.
Yes.
I don't think the word settle works in any means for Craig Stammen. To me, it's almost the opposite. If you look and you trust what AJ Preller said about, hey, we had a guy who was on the other side of the table helping us interview candidates, and he was so good, so impressive. I've had my eyes on him for so long that I had to have him in that managerial chair. To me, that's the exact opposite of settling. I did everything I possibly could to get the guy I wanted in that chair.
It's just unfortunate, too, that Mike Schill, not unfortunate, he did the best thing for himself, but he retired. And I don't think they were expecting that. And it didn't come during a popular, open manager season, if that makes any sense at all. Like, it didn't come in a season. It's like the draft, the football draft. Like, there's not a good quarterback class. It's kind of when Mike Schill retired, there's not a good managing class.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's hard to know how good some of these guys will be. The
Craig Albernaz, I heard he's going to be
the next great manager, Skraby. I don't know. Like, people, especially AJ Preller, they go and get the guy, theoretically, that they want most of the time, unless told otherwise by other people in the front office. But typically, and especially I think in this situation, this was AJ Preller's hire, and it's probably going to be AJ Preller's last hire.
Yeah,
this either needs to work or there's going to be some big changes, and there might be big changes anyways, considering the sale. But I think the vision is to move forward. The vision is to keep this staff and in this front office, even through the sales, what everyone's saying. It sounds like Preller's extension is close. So I think this was AJ's hire. I don't think the puppet thing's true. I don't think the settle thing is true. I think they went and got the guy that they wanted. Yeah,
K-Laws on the chat says the conspiracy theorists won't like this, guys.
That's the conspiracy theorists hate me, man.
No, they hate me too. I don't ever agree with their conspiracy. That's why they don't like me. Campusano would have been in the lineup most of the 2025 season if the managers are just AJ's puppet. That's a pretty good pretty good thing. Cody says Clase is a puppet. I don't know how Clase took strays here in this segment, but
well,
what do you think about that real quick?
A gambling puppet.
That's
I could
crazy.
see. It is crazy. It's sad. You know, when the whole NBA thing came out, right? And the Chauncey Billups and all that stuff. I
Damon
think,
Jones.
yeah, I think when you live in a society now where gambling is so much in the forefront, it sponsors all of our shows. It is every 30 seconds an ad. It is while you're watching sports that things are popping up. This is bound to happen. The one thing I think you could do, and the MLB started to kind of get on this, is like the prop bets got to quit. Why do we need to bet on one pitch in the sixth inning?
I agree.
You know what I mean? But it's in the forefront. This is going to happen. And this is the stuff that's been uncovered. The thing that's crazy to me is the amount of money that these pitchers were doing it for. Guys that have made, tens of millions, 20 of millions of dollars in Major League Baseball, doing it for $10,000 a pitch, $5,000 a pitch. That tells me that they're either trying to like really help out their friends, the people betting on this, or that it's just about the rush in the race, which is crazy.
It is very crazy that you would throw away your career for about $5,000, $10,000 or whatever. But I agree with you about the prop bets. And I know the NFL came out and said, hey, we've already done this. And it's like, okay, no, you haven't, NFL. You just want all the money. And there's no way that they're going to take gambling out of sports because it's already intertwined. They've already counted on that revenue or that money every year from the sports betting platforms. So I don't mind limiting people to what they can bet. I know that there are people out there saying, well, I'm American, I can do what I want. That's fine, but I can't trust you.
Yeah,
you can't trust yourself.
Genie's out the bottle now.
Yeah.
Like you ain't putting the toothpaste back in the tube. And when you made that bet and lied in it with gambling as professional sports, this is the repercussions of it. And there's going to be a lot of it. This is just the beginning.
I think it's hilarious too that all these sports leagues are out saying we know the dangers of gambling, so we're only going to limit these prop bets to $200 max. Like, come on! I know that the platforms love a prop bet because it's easy money for them, and they love the parlays because it's really easy money for them. But there's just a whole nother can of worms. Anyway, we didn't get to any of the roster stuff, so when we get back, I'm here with Jake Garegnani, CBS8. I'm Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. When we get back, we're going to talk about some of the Padres roster stuff. We're also going to talk about MLS. Are they doing the right things to get into the forefront of American sports? But first, before we go, I have a pair of tickets to tomorrow's San Diego State football game against Boise State at Snapdragon Stadium. Get tickets at goaztecs.com. Be the 6th caller right now, and you will win those tickets. Back with more MLS talk, also Padres roster talk on 97.3 The Fan. As a reminder, all guests on 97.3 The Fan join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Matt Skraby here with you, filling in for Gwynn and Chris for today. They will be back on Monday. I'm also joined by Jake Garegnani of CBS 8. You can check out his stuff. CBS 8, he's the sports guy. And he let him know your social media handles.
It's just at Jake Garegnani on everything, which is a bear to spell. I fully understand that. It is Garegnani.
Whenever I think about just going at Jake G.
So I have a hilarious story about this, actually. When I first got on television, my middle name is Ryan. My parents are super duper awesome hippies. I'm named after the kid from 16 Candles, Jake Ryan. And so I started getting on television, and they were like, you should just go by Jake Ryan. It is way easier for people to find you, way easier for social media. And I go, I agree. But I'm from a massive Italian family, and if I just throw that name out the window, they will disown me, and I will be barred from the Garegnanis. I even watered it down a little. The name is like Garegnani, right?
Garegnani.
But like, so I was like, I'll just go Garegnani to make it kind of simple.
Yeah.
And that was like the best I could do. But no, I fully understand it's a beast. It's probably what's stunting my career. It's definitely not my lack of talent and my lack of good looks.
So
I think it's my last name.
You would be
hard
Pat
to spell.
McAfee if your name was easier to spell.
Dude, I would probably be like Adam Scheffner, like that. I would probably have hundreds of millions of followers on my social media, but it's hard to spell. So here I am at CBS 8, just doing my thing with my my bad haircut and bad beard.
my name isn't as hard to spell as your name, but it definitely is misspelled all the time. I can't even tell you how many people have called me Scrapey before with the Scrapey.
People.
Like it's written in front of you.
People just give up on mine. In fact, when we were at the Craig Stammen press conference, Don Orsillo was announcing everyone asking the question, right? And Annie Heilbrunn from the UT, Marty Caswell, Jake from CBS. Donnie goes, I ain't even going to try that one.
Oh, well, Don knows. He's a pro. That's why he's a professional. That's why he knows, because I would be the guy trying to pronounce it and then butchering it, and then just everything would be bad about all of that. So you can go follow Jake over there. I always, whenever I spell your name, I say Garegnani.
There you go.
Garegnani. Garegnani. That's how I remember to spell things.
I'm stunned. You might be the first person that's not related to me that's ripped out just spelling like that.
I've said this many times on this show. I was the third grade spelling bee champion. So
wow,
you're in a room with royalty.
I got Rubik's Cube. You got spelling bee. We're gonna crush this.
That's right. Chlorofluorocarbons was my first word.
I don't even
my final word. CHLOROFLUOROCARBONS.
Dude, and I was an English major and still don't know how to spell.
I'm getting some props for that. All right. Last night, I did the Rubik's Cube challenge on my YouTube, The Skraby Show. It did not work out for me. I did not finish the Rubik's Cube in 45 minutes, even though everybody gave me instructions that confused me even more. People kept saying, don't put the white on the edges. Don't put the white on the edges. I'm like, what does that even mean? There's like 6 edges. I don't understand it. But we were talking about this before the show. Jake says he could solve this, but I'll give you till the end of the segment.
How long? How much time do I? Yeah.
13 minutes.
Oh, dude, yeah, this will be done.
This will be done.
To give myself some grace because we're on the radio.
Yes,
5 minutes, but I think I could have it done in about 3.
Okay.
Let me get the camera lined up for you. But we can also continue to talk.
Yeah.
And let me not show too much there. Okay. We can also continue to talk.
Yes. The Padres roster situation is. The pitching situation is what we need to talk about, because they're probably not going to have Michael King. They're probably not going to have Dylan Cease. I'm honestly distracted because this is amazing what's going on over here. But they're not going to have Dylan Cease. They're not going to have Michael King. How do you think they fill out this rotation? Is it through trades? Is it through free agency? Is it through promoting guys from the bullpen? What do you think?
I think it's going to be a lot of things. I think, first of all, AJ Preller will most definitely make some moves in free agency. And it's not going to be like the big names that are out there, which there are a lot of like big name pitchers out there this year in free agency. But it's going to be a guy like that people didn't see coming, kind of like Nick Pivetta was this year, right, for the San Diego Padres, and what a year he turned in. And then they're going to obviously have to rely more on guys like Randy Vasquez and you know, a JP Sears and a maybe a Matt Waldron, and like those guys will do some filling, I think. But I also believe there's the opportunity that maybe they convert some of these guys. I know there's been a ton of talk about Mason Miller possibly doing it. I don't necessarily love that idea by any means, but it is a possibility. And Adrian Morejon might convert. So I think the Padres have options. They've always gotten creative when it comes to their staff. You have the best pitching coach in all of baseball to help with that. Like, I understand the concern for the starting pitching is massive, but I really don't know if it is the thing that will actually hinder them come, you know, the rest of the season, especially when you talk about, like, look, the reason they got eliminated from the playoffs wasn't because of starting pitching. It's because they couldn't hit the ball, right? Yeah. So I understand why there's concern there 100%, but I think more will be focused on the hitting. Sorry, I did get a little distracted.
No, that's okay. I am
right,
amazed by
We're
this
almost
right
done.
now.
We're almost
if
done.
you want to see this, you can go back on the YouTube. Just search
because this is about to finish.
Well, you can watch it later, but 97.3 The Fan on YouTube. Also, Gwynn and Chris SD. Go about the 43-minute version or mark in the video. You'll be able to see it. The other thing that we've learned this week is that the Padres are not opposed to bringing back Luis Arraez, and you know, I know that he's not a fan favorite in the position that he was deployed in last year, right. But I do think for the right price and getting him out of first base, he's a valuable piece to this team. He ended up with the highest batting average on the team. Even though we gave him so much crap all year long about his batting average, he ended up with the highest batting average.
I think by far what you said is the most important. Is it has to be the right price, because
wait, did you just finish it?
Yeah. It has to be the right price, because Luis Arraez, there was huge concerns about keeping him in that 2 spot, right? And I think the fact that Mike was very, very stubborn in keeping him in that 2 spot and making sure that he stayed in that 2 spot, it was a big hindrance on the entire lineup. So if they do decide to bring Luis back, it, 1, better be really, really cheap, and 2, Craig better be willing to move him around that lineup, move him around either defensively or DH or whatever they decide to do with that. But I have serious hesitations about bringing Luis back. I really do. And if you're going to do it, got to be very affordable.
Very affordable. Not the $14 million that he was making last year in arbitration. I don't think he'll make that this year. I don't have any idea what he would get on the open market, which is what he is. He's a free agent. So we'll see. But we're on the same page. Bring him back, but bat him lower. And if he's doing well, maybe you can move him up, but just be fluid. I hate that word, and I hate that, just be fluid, but that's really the only way I can describe it. Before, I know we have just a little bit to go. I got to say, that was impressive, Jake. he literally solved this Rubik's Cube while he was talking to us. Adam, can you believe that?
I don't know what's more impressive, solving the Rubik's Cube just in general, which I tend to believe is not that impressive, because if you know how to do it, it's not that difficult. Is that accurate, Jake? You know what you're doing. Like, you could do it anytime you want, as often as you want, correct?
Yeah, it's just
once you learn.
Yeah, it's a series of algorithms you memorize in your head, and based on where the colors are, you apply an algorithm.
It's more impressive to me that he was able to do it while talking.
Yeah, that is impressive. I
work in television. There's always people talking in my ear while I'm talking.
That's true.
Like, although I did get a little distracted. If you go back, I was kind of
were fine
a little
bit.
Like,
honestly, you were doing a radio show while doing a Rubik's Cube, and I feel very dumb for sitting there for 45 minutes trying to do that. I'm not a math person, and you need to be a math person.
It actually has zero math involved. It's just memorization. So don't feel bad, because it's purely memorization of like algorithms, right? So like up, down, left, right, up, down. Algorithm is a really fancy word for memorizing patterns.
No, I knew that.
And so like all you have to do is just apply some memorized pattern. It's very fun though. It's a great party trick.
Yes, I would be that would be.
I may have gained 3 whole followers on social media for solving
Jake
the Rubik's Cube on radio.
If you respect him solving the Rubik's Cube on the show while talking about Padres baseball, go follow him on Twitter and Instagram.
His Padre takes are horrendous, but
he's a really good Rubik's Cube solver.
This guy has no clue what he's talking about when it comes to baseball, but man,
can he work his way around a Rubik's Cube? All right, real quick.
All you gotta do is at Jake G.
I do. Jake Ryan.
That's gotta be
shout
taken.
Out to my parents.
Jake G has to be taken.
Here's my theory: is if I'm doing a good enough job, people will eventually find it.
That's true.
The internet's a wild place. CBS 8 San Diego Sports Guy, you could find it.
Yeah. Just type in Jake G CBS 8 on Google. Boom. There you go.
Jake G is available.
It is available.
No, it's not. There's a guy with 0 followers and 0 following. He's never tweeted either.
Hey, that's my account. Careful. Jeez,
you
Clue,
go.
my man. Good
I-
lord.
I wanted at Skraby, and there's some dude in Russia that combined his first and last name to be Skraby. And I messaged him, and he wanted $500 for the account, and I'm like, no. And so this dude, I swear, he does just the minimum to keep the account alive, because I keep searching to see if it's available, and I don't know. It's really annoying.
He's hedging his bet, man.
I'm not paying
when you
$500.
make it huge and you're a
Yeah.
gigantic radio star,
Thank you.
you're gonna be $500 to be nothing. He'll be see you glad I hung on to that.
Yeah, he'll be like, oh, I want $50,000 now, and I'll still say no.
Hey man.
All right, before you get out of here, let's talk MLS real quick. SDFC has moved on in the playoffs. The game is not for another
November
10 days.
24th.
Yeah, 10 days or so. So we don't really need to talk about that. But I want to talk about what MLS is doing to try to put themselves into each household and become maybe a big five, not of sports, not a big four of sports with basketball, football, hockey, and baseball. But they are removing the double paywall to get access to their games. And starting next season, if you have an Apple TV subscription, you'll be able to watch games without having to pay a fee on top of your monthly subscription fee. Also, they announced that the schedule in 2027 is going to be overhauled. They're shifting to a summer to spring season that aligns with global soccer calendar and mirrors Europe's top leagues. So what they're doing here is showing me that they really do care about this American market, and they're willing to make big changes for the long run.
I think everything that they're presenting and that they're doing is really, really smart. One thing that I think is very important about MLS is they realize they're not the biggest soccer league in the world, which sometimes egos can get in the way of that. MLS is not the biggest soccer league in the world. So to align themselves with the other leagues, to make MLS be more available to get players in certain windows, to make big time players be able to want to play more in MLS because it aligns with the rest of the leagues, makes a whole lot of sense. The double paywall thing it's just obvious. I'm glad somebody finally did it. Like, you want your product to be seen, allow people to see it.
Yeah.
Quit making people pay 700 things to watch a match. Soccer is a lot of fun. And I will admit, I wasn't a huge soccer person before SDFC
Same.
got here. I'm hooked. We're down there tailgating, going to the match, going nuts with the fans. It is a beautiful, beautiful sport. And people that are out there that love it are going, duh, we knew that. But for those that are getting into it, allow the people to watch it. Allow the people to get into it. Love that about Apple TV moving that second paywall down. And then as far as the calendar shifting, I think it makes a ton of sense. Like, this international break right now kills a lot of the momentum that we have. Like, unbelievable 3-game series that they just went through with Portland, advanced. People are ready to chomp at the bit this weekend to go out there and watch more SDFC. You got to wait. So getting that out of the way, aligning with the rest of the leagues, brilliant. The transfer windows, it just all makes a lot of sense. To your point, I'm really glad MLS is realizing that and making it available to people.
I love this quote from the MLS commissioner, Don Garber, about the schedule shifting. Quote, "There was overwhelming support for this move. That was positive, but it wasn't necessary." the most like backhanded, this is great, but I didn't want this.
We were going to do it anyways.
Yeah, we were
going to
credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be the guy who leads the charge. But if MLS, this is the first step for me. And I can't, like, you have to, as you said, put yourself in the face of people. With everything that we could watch these days, we got so much stuff going on. Like, I am not gonna go and pay extra for a soccer game because my station paid for it. So
mine too.
But at the same time, like, this is the only way to grow in this environment, and they have to get a little bit better at promoting their players, because I don't know enough about their players in all of MLS.
Yeah, and they've got some really good ones, and hopefully they do
Messi,
get better. But
one of the best players of all time.
SDFC alone has some unbelievable players, and winning and making your product more available obviously puts that in the forefront of people. And if you haven't gotten on that SDFC train, man, it is a lot of fun, and we do a good job covering it at CBS 8. I'm going to shout out.
Hashtag
CBS
not a
8,
sponsor. Always down there. Not a sponsor. You also do football stuff on Sundays, right?
Big football show every Sunday. As long as CBS 8 has a late game, we're on with a post-game show. And it's one of my favorite shows in all of the market. Well, obviously, I'm a little biased, but it's also one of my favorite shows to do. And we're huge football fans, obviously NFL fans at CBS 8, and we talk a ton of football.
Yeah, it's, football I know is a weird topic in this town, but I think for the most part, people, if they're not supporting a team, they're paying attention, and then there are the people that don't pay attention at all. So that's fine. I get most hate messages when we talk about the NFL. That's when I get most of them.
Yeah, football's king, no matter what. So you gotta stick with it, you know.
But in this town, actually, baseball's king because the Padres are number one. Jake, thank you for coming in today. And thank you for solving the Rubik's Cube so that I don't have to do a computer program to get it back to the way it was.
Man, anytime. Much love to both of you and Adam, and all the people listening out there. I really appreciate it, and really appreciate all the support, man.
Yes. Thank you, Jake. I got lost in your nice words there. When we get back, Kirk Kenney is going to be in studio. We're going to talk a little bit about, some of the bowl games, the Holiday Bowl. We're going to talk about the Aztecs, also a countdown. So plenty to go here on 97.3 The Fan. Hour number 2 of Gwynn and Chris is underway. I am Matt Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris. They will be back on Monday. And my next guest for my next trick, I bring in Kirk Kenney of the San Diego Union Tribune. He's in studio with me right now. I appreciate Jake Garegnani coming in from CBS 8. And Kirk, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. The rain isn't here yet, so the knuckleheads on the highway have not started going crazy yet.
I actually was telling Tony about this yesterday, but you know those people that go from the fast lane to like the exit because they're the only ones on the road? Yesterday, I was driving into work and this is before the rain, so the knuckleheads are already out, but this guy went from the far left lane all the way over to the bypass and hit a car while he was going because he just didn't look. And so I saw this all go down. Everybody's fine, but the roads are scaring me more than ever. They're getting worse, Kirk. Can you confirm this for me?
I think you're probably right. I don't know what the answer is because other than just staying in your house and in a bubble.
I can do that too. I love social distancing. I was a huge social distancing fan. The COVID stay-at-home thing, I was good with that. I love staying at home.
All right.
I mean, you do travel all over the country, though, so you wouldn't be able to stay at home because you go to all these different Aztecs games. You did not go to the Hawaii game. You're driving everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Kirk. We have an Aztecs football team, that started the year with some question marks. How are they going to go this year? Are they going to win any games? Or are they going to win 3 games? To a team that was really good. And then they go to Hawaii and they get beat big by Hawaii, kind of ending the dream of a college football playoff. Do you think that was them maybe reading their press clippings a little bit about how good of a team they are? Or what was the reason for that loss? And the loss was shocking.
I don't think it's so much that they were kind of getting full of themselves. I think it's more that, look over a whole season. There were several games on Saturday that there were upsets in the top 25, et cetera. And I think, no one's going to go undefeated by and large. And even most teams aren't going to, have more than, a handful of games where they really dominate. And they're going to have games where they, you wouldn't have thought that result's going to happen, but that's what happens. And I think that was the situation last week at Hawaii. I think it was compounded by all the rain that they had in that game. I don't know that the Aztecs were as prepared as they could have been for that. And then they just, didn't play well in the first half. The defense did pretty well in the second half, but that was obscured by the final result.
Yeah. Well, we talked to Trey White last week, and he was very impressive. And the defense seemingly, that's what the Aztecs are known for, running backs and defense. Maybe not so much for running backs anymore, although Lucky Sutton is having a good year. But the defense when that defense is not playing well, I don't know that the Aztecs offense can keep up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The offense has been very much hit and miss. And I think I wrote today that they had a couple of games where they only got 2 field goals, another one where they only had 1 offensive touchdown. So the defense has very much been the high point of the season. And, they're just going to have to figure some more of that out and see if they can find some offensive consistency somewhere.
They're going to have to find some offensive consistency. But Jaden Denegal's been, I think, better than people thought he was going to be this year. I don't know really what anybody expected, because when you hear, a Michigan quarterback is coming to San Diego State, I got a lot of responses of, he didn't even play. But he still was good enough for Michigan. So is this a guy that we could be happy about and cheer for going forward, or is he going to leave us?
Oh, I definitely think he'll be back next year. And I think he's been a good quarterback. I think he is a little bit dinged up, and I think that's prevented him from being as good as he could be. I saw one game, I think it was Colorado State. He made 3 first half throws that were just tremendous. So you see it's in there, and you would hope that a guy progresses each game, that he gets another start. But I think some of the injuries he's had to deal with over the season are impacting his play.
Yeah, I can't remember which game it was, but he went down with a stinger, I believe, or something with his arm, his non-throwing arm. But he seems like a tough dude. He seems like a guy that people want to play with and for. Sean Lewis, I think, has done a really good job of turning this team around this year because no one expected much. What do you think about Sean? Because we talked to some of the coordinators over the past couple of weeks, and we kind of talk about Sean Lewis, and they all tell us how great of a leader he is and a communicator. I always get a little nervous that guys are going to leave after a good season. What's the likelihood that Sean Lewis is going to be poached by another team, you think?
At this point in time, I don't think that'll happen. Not that there aren't teams that might be interested in him, especially after putting together a good season this year so far. But at this point, most of the jobs that are open are Power 4 jobs, and I don't know that they're going to go for someone who's an up-and-comer from the group of 5, as opposed to looking for someone who has already Power 4 experience. A couple of those programs, they have to get like a very high-profile name to fill. So that's why I think he maybe sticks around.
All right. Well, I do love that Sean Lewis is going to stick around. I think Sean Lewis is a good coach. I think Sean Lewis can, with time, can figure this out. He's already figured it out in one off season. So I hope he stays with the team. But Boise State coming into town. As you said, this is a very important game. What are they? I mean, they're 3-point favorites. The Aztecs are at home. What are some of the things we're looking for this weekend?
Well, as we mentioned, I think they need to find some offensive consistency and start to click more there. One of their wide receivers is out, Jacob Bostic, and so that's put more pressure on Jordan Napier to perform and or allow defenses to focus more on Jordan and maybe take him out of the game a little bit. So I'm interested to see how much he's able to perform this week. I think with the weather coming up, both sides, I think, are going to kind of lean toward the running the ball, keep it on the ground, try and hold on to it. So I think that'll be an impact. Defensively, we need to see how the Aztecs rebound after last week's performance. When they lost their other game this year, it was 36-13 at Washington State, and they bounced back with a 34-0 win over Cal. So
good point.
There's every belief, I think, on the field for those guys that they're going to rebound. Boise State starting its backup quarterback, Max Cutforth, because their starter's out with a foot injury. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. But again, I think Boise State's going to have a game plan that favors the run to take some of the load off that quarterback.
Do they have an Ashton Genty-like guy, the Boise State?
No, they don't. But they do have 3 guys who've been very good, and those 3 running backs together have averaged close to 184 yards a game, which has been very substantial.
That is substantial. We're talking to Kirk Kenney here, San Diego Union Tribune. He'll be in for the next hour, and at the end of the hour, Kirk texted me a countdown topic that is very Kirk, and it is top 5 child actors. And so we're going to have a lot of different names on this list. I went through a lot of research last night trying to find the child actors of my generation. So you already guessed
so the
one
last
on
10 years.
Text message. Yeah, the last 10 years is my child actor career. But we'll do that at 3:40. We're going to get to the Padres in the next segment because I want to get some of your thoughts, being a guy who's been here a long time here in town and seeing all the different sports stuff. You have thoughts about that, so we'll get to that. But the San Diego State football team, is there, with the whole thing with the attendance issue, is I'm trying to phrase this in a way where it's not like the attendance is terrible, but it is terrible. And the Wyoming coach comes and says that thing about how everybody came dressed as empty seats, which I think is a very good line, but it's also very hurtful. They are doing some things to try to get people into the stadium this week. The supervisor, Jim Desmond, came out and said that they need to lower the ticket prices. It's not as simple as just lowering the ticket prices. But at what point do you think San Diego State looks at this and says, all right, we have to back down a little bit and give these people lower prices?
That's what I think they should do, but they've seemingly been either stubborn or just resistant to doing that. Part of it, I mean, they're in a difficult spot because they've charged so much to the season ticket holders. And, I don't think if you lowered ticket prices in half, I don't think that would double season ticket sales. So if I
agree with that.
Yeah. If you keep that in mind, then they technically would lose money if they followed that. I think one thing they could do is maybe move in and add seats at lower price points.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that way it would allow, because so in the last 2 weeks, they've been doing this 2 for $40 deal. And I think they've moved close to 5,000 tickets that way.
See that I know that there's numbers that prove that their tickets are probably priced appropriately for what they are thinking, but people love discounts.
Mhm.
Like, they love discounts. When you see a 2 for $40 sale, I don't even care if the tickets actually are $40. I'll still buy the 2 for $40 because it sounds like a good price. And there's just this is the feedback I've been getting from people, and it's I just can't afford $115 for a nosebleed seat in that stadium. And we asked Ryan Lindley about it the other day when he was on the show, and he said, I asked him, do you talk to your team about that? Do you address that? And he said, yeah, we do, because it would be kind of like an elephant in the room, but we just kind of use it as motivation. Chris has said this many times, but it would be nice for people to go support this team because the student athletes are doing a really good job.
Yeah, I've heard some people say the Aztec fans are with you, win or win. So
Wait, what?
Aztec fans are with you, win or win.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, a lot of people are like that, Kirk, these days.
San Diego has always been a fickle town, I think, as far as their support for professional and college sports. We see other places across the country that they're so passionate, they'll pay whatever, they'll go in any kinds of weather.
Mhm.
We're going to see probably weather this weekend, and I wonder how many people are just looking at the forecast will say, no, I'm not coming.
That's a good point. I mean, we don't like weather here. I would go to the game. I think it's kind of fun. I've played golf in the rain before, type of thing. It's just something that happens, but you're probably right. If it's going to be, I was going to say snowing, that's not the right precipitation. If it's going to be raining tomorrow night, I think people will stay away, and that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. We're here with Kirk Kenney of the San Diego Union Tribune. I'm Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. When we get back, we'll get back into the Padres. We'll get Kirk's thoughts on the Seidler family exploring a sale of the team, and we'll ask him whether or not he thinks Craig Stammen is the right guy for the job. So all of that ahead here on 97.3 The Fan. This holiday season, too many San Diegans will go hungry. Join 97.3 The Fan and support the San Diego Food Bank. Donate food directly online through our Odyssey San Diego Food Fund, where every donation helps feed local families. Go to 973thefansd.com/food fund and give today. I'm Matt Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Got Kirk Kenney from the San Diego Union Tribune here with us in studio until 4 p.m. Got Adam Klug on the ones and twos, as Tony will say. But Adam just told us some very interesting information. And in a nutshell, we'll get into this a little bit later, but starting in 2029, Disney has the rights for the NCAA men's and women's NCAA tournament, and they're going to be broadcasted on Disney properties. So I have no idea how much that costs them, but I feel really bad for Ian Eagle. He just took over for Jim Nantz, and now it's not going to be on CBS anymore starting 2029.
Well,
does this bother you in any sort of way?
I just turn on the TV and see what channel it's on. So
Well,
I'm not as into that as some people.
Adam, does this mean True TV is not going to get their yearly bump from the NCAA tournament?
That's correct.
Wow. What is True TV going to do? I mean, honestly,
we all search and try and find out what channel True TV is on
every year. Irrational Jokers or something? They're always on. Impractical Jokers. They're always on.
They're irrational too.
They are irrational, but they're always on True TV. It's either Impractical Jokers or the NCAA tournament. We'll get into that a little bit later because that's kind of interesting. And in the mix of YouTube TV and ESPN feuding right now. So
yeah, how exclusive will that be to ABC? And does that mean, okay, ESPN platforms and ABC, or where they'll still have something farmed off to some of the other channels?
I'm going to do some research for that, and I'm going to bring that back for.
Well, one thing I think that's interesting about this report is that it says that the games, like Turner's always had 4 channels. They've had TBS, TNT, True TV, and whatever the other ones. There's 4 games on at a time. This release says broadcast across ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus. So that's like 3 traditional linear channels and a streaming channel. So now in terms of channel surfing and going back and forth between games, that might be difficult with the ESPN Plus element.
I'm over that whole thing. I'm over the ESPN app. I'm over having to buy 700 different apps to watch. I get that they want to push their app, but I don't want to have to log into an app just to watch one game. I want it to be right there in front of me.
I guess CBS is the 4th channel I was missing. TBS,
is the big one.
CBS, and True TV.
Yeah.
It's interesting how long it's taking for streaming to take hold. I mean, what's the age cutoff now where people are like, I have no idea how to do that?
Chris's age. Like 75, I think. No, I think it's like, if I take my dad, for example, and sorry, Dad, I'm going to throw out your technical prowess. He could do the Prime thing. He could do the app thing. I never get that played on me. He could do all that, but he really hates, and I think everybody else hates, that you can't switch between channels when they go to commercial break. And it's smart on their part because they're forcing you to watch the commercials, but I think it's losing a lot of people too.
Well, it's interesting to me that as we advance technologically, that it's more complicated.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's more of a sign-in process. There's more finding it now, and they're just making it so confusing. I just want it to all be one standard thing.
What I find to be interesting is that we used to have every channel in one place, right?
Yeah.
Then they all broke apart, and we're streaming on all these different platforms. And now a couple of these platforms are joining together to join forces. Like, ooh, let's put everything back together. We shall call it cable.
Yeah,
that's where we were.
Yeah,
why did we leave that place?
Yeah, because everybody thought, hey, people want to pay for 10 different streaming apps. This is what they want. We have to have our own app. And then Paramount's got a bunch of stuff going on with it. It's hard to follow. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit about that later. The Padres. Now, when I went to break, I said, is he the right guy for the job? And the answer is, we're not sure if he's the right guy for the job. So I don't want to, make light of it, because he is the manager of the team. And for me, I'm moving forward with him being the manager of the team. We'll get to the sale in just a second. But what did you think about Craig Stammen becoming the manager?
I thought it was a little bit out of left field. I mean, obviously he doesn't have the experience of most of the guys you would bring, but then again, some of the other guys they were taking a look at didn't have any on the field experience either. from a managerial standpoint. It's interesting to me how many people just immediately give a thumbs down to something. It's like, let it play out. I thought when they hired Bob Melvin, that was a really, really good hire, and it lasted 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, was some of that because of friction with the front office? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, this is another way of trying things, and maybe it works out really well.
And as Jake and I were talking about in the first hour, like this is how teams are doing it now. They're going with the guy who has very little experience, and they're going with a guy who's going to work well at the front office. I personally, I think that Craig Stammen's going to give everything he has to this job. But it's yet to be seen if he's going to be successful. But I'm going to give him that, leeway to try to figure out the job before I'm going to say he's a bad manager. And you're right. You say this all the time. People have very quick, they're very quick to turn things down when they don't like it.
Yeah, I think our society has become very snap judgment.
It is snap judgment.
One thing, though, is I've heard people talk about a potential lockout for 2027, and maybe this was just a way of, and the team's up for sale, so maybe this was just a way of putting a guy in there for now, and some other decisions might be made a year or two down the road.
Yeah, well, that is looming, and it is. I saw that Rob Manfred had preliminary talks with the MLBPA, and I don't really know how far those preliminary talks went. Probably not too far, but I have a feeling that when they get there, it's going to be a battle. And we did this 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and it was a battle. And there's going to be a lot of new things that are going to be talked about, like the owners wanting a salary cap, the whole sports betting thing, the TV deals that they have, the deferred money that is being spent out there. I don't know if they're going to do anything about that, but there's a lot to be worried about with the impending lockout. But the team, you said it, they're going up for sale or exploring a sale. What are your thoughts on this? Jake and I said in the first hour that this could be a really good thing for the team and for the fans.
Yeah, I think there's been a very good ownership group, but obviously things have changed over the last couple of years, and I think exploring a sale, there's nothing wrong with that, and obviously Padre fans would hope whatever new ownership group comes in is still willing to spend and looking as much in the best interest of the team on the field and success there as they are padding their pocketbook.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer. If I had $2 billion, I would be buying the Padres because I could put a little bit of money into it. If there's someone like a Stan Kroenke or a Joe Lacob, is it Lacob, Adam? It's Lacob. They have a lot of money. They could get that one extra free agent if they open up their pocketbook. And those guys also have already some experience in backing a team that wins. The Warriors have won a ton. The Rams won a Super Bowl, and they're pretty good. So Stan Kroenke is not a stranger to owning professional sports franchises. I just don't know if he's going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you're at that level of wealth, it's more about legacy than, you can only have so many cars and houses and
true
and things. And, I always reflect on Ray Kroc saved baseball for this town in 1974, and he's been gone for 40 years, and yet he's still very much revered, as opposed to the guy who owns the Chargers and moved them out of here. It's like, I don't know what the upside was. I'm sure they made a little extra money on the franchise, but he's going to be forever hated here. It's like Art Mardell in Baltimore moving the team out of there.
Yeah.
The guy's forever hated for the rest of eternity. And yet, what did he really accomplish by doing that?
Nothing. And now they're trying to, the Chargers, at least, they're trying to, make uniforms that look like San Diego Charger uniforms. They're trying to get back in the good graces of Chargers fans that are here. And I don't, it's not that easy. It's not that easy because Dean Spanos, wasn't completely his fault. And the team's
No, I
fault.
think it was.
You think it was?
I will forever blame him.
Okay. Because I wasn't, as heavily involved in all of that stuff. I was just getting into sports radio when all that stuff was happening. But I remember, who was the guy who was their spokesperson that used to be with the White House? I can't remember his name right now. But he kept saying things that were very politically, not misleading, but it was just so ugly. It was so ugly on both sides.
Well, he was going to spout the Chargers party line. And well, like when we had
Is it a Geary?
no. He's a
Okay.
local guy. I'm Mark Garagos. No, it's not him. Was it?
No, we'll figure it out. It
Anyway,
was a long time ago.
When the Chargers had the vote downtown for a stadium, I think that was kind of half-hearted. I look at how the Padres in '98, they were all over the place to try and get the vote for the downtown stadium. And the Chargers, I thought it seemed kind of half-hearted. And I was not surprised at all when they moved after that. I think that was just a way of saying, hey, at least we tried to keep it here. But
back to the Padres
Yeah.
and exploring a sale. The Padres, they have a very attractive franchise. They have guys in
Mhm.
place. They have a fan base that will spend money and will show up to games and will buy merchandise. So I don't think this is as terrible as some people may have thought, because there is someone out there, I would think, with money that sees this as a money-making opportunity, and they will do what they can to make money. Once someone buys a team, most of the time they really, really want to make money. And so if you're getting into the baseball game like Stan Kroenke would do, or Joe Lacob, I keep forgetting his last name, then things can be better than what they are now, which is hard to imagine because we haven't had that before.
I think the biggest thing for the fans is this is getting into unknowns. They know what they've had and they've enjoyed that. And the fear of the unknown is maybe this goes a good positive direction and maybe it doesn't. So I think that's maybe the reason for their anxiety.
Yeah, there's tons of anxiety out there. I understand it. I do. I'm going to talk more about it at 5:00, but there's been a lot that has come down with the Padres here since the offseason has begun. In like 40 something days, there's been 3 major news announcements that some teams don't even get in an entire offseason. So the next step for all of us, I mean, is just to wait and see what happens. And I think it's going to be a slow process, but I do trust John Seidler when he says that he's going to find someone that is going to run this team with Peter's vision in mind, because I think that's very important to keep alive. And so I don't think that John Seidler is lying about that at all. I think that he will try to find someone that is going to be a good owner and someone who's not just going to ruin all of the last 6 years.
Yeah, I would take him at his word and believe that he is trying to follow in Peter's footsteps and in his thoughts and do things the right way.
And hey, if I don't want someone in there who's maybe not fully 100%, but like, not that they're not behind the Padres, but maybe it's not their number one thing, and that's totally fine. And I'd rather have someone in here that's going to focus 24 hours a day on the Padres if they're the owner of the team. That's what I want. I want someone like even though Steve Cohen kind of annoys me sometimes when he tweets and stuff, he does care about his team. He may spend his money in a bad way, but he does do what he can to allow them to win.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just getting an ownership group that has deeper pockets or deep enough pockets to not be nickel and diming and being afraid of how to keep this team competitive and in the upper part of the payrolls.
Yeah, because they got a lot of guys that are under contract for a very long time, and they need to take advantage of that right now. That's the time is now, Kirk. All right, this is Matt Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris here on 97.3 The Fan, joined by Kirk Kenney of the San Diego Union Tribune, Adam Klug in studio as well. We're going to have a Klug versus the Fans at 4 p.m., so stick around for that. But Kirk is sticking around because we're going to do the countdown, which is our top 5 child actors. You all think of yours out there because everybody has them. That's next on 97.3 The Fan. This hour of Sports Talk is brought to you by SD Collectibles. Get ready, sports and Pokemon collectors. SD Collectible Card Show is back at Liberty Station with over 100 vendor tables November 22nd and 23rd. Find sports cards, Pokemon, memorabilia, and more. Visit sdcollectibles.com for more info. That is sdcollectibles.com. Matt Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris. They'll be back Monday. Kirk Kenney from the San Diego Union Tribune in with me right now. We're going to play Klug versus the Fans at 4 p.m. But right now is the countdown, and it's going to be the top 5 child actors. So we'll get into that right after traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Got some scattered showers hitting the county, guys, and heavier stuff on the way. So brace yourself for what could be a very busy afternoon. Got a collision on eastbound 8 near Mission Gorge Road. It's over the right shoulder. Also reports of a crash University Avenue off-ramp, northbound 15. Southbound side of the 805, just past El Cajon Boulevard, we have reports of a stalled vehicle in the center divide. A message from Valvoline Instant Oil Change. You can't avoid holiday traffic or your relatives, but you can avoid car trouble. Swing by Valvoline Instant Oil Change before Thanksgiving. It's your 15-minute drive-through oil change. No appointment needed. Find your nearest location and grab money-saving coupons at SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
We have so many suggestions already in the chat, Kirk, about who should be on the list of top 5 child actors. And one of them that we already talked about over text, Shirley Temple, is being offered up here in the chat. So we'll see if she's on your list. You know what? I actually don't want to get into it because I have no idea who's on Kirk's list. So we're going to get started with number 5. And Kirk, you're going to go first. Oops, sorry.
All right. Actually, I just did a last-second change on this because my wife provided some input, and
okay,
I guess I have to consider that, or I'm going to hear about it later.
Okay.
So for number 5, I went with Haley Joel Osment.
Oh, yes.
Sixth Sense, he was tremendous.
Yes.
And also, I don't know if you noticed, he was the child in Forrest Gump, too.
I do remember that, yeah. Yeah, he was obviously in a lesser role, but he was in Forrest Gump. I thought, and I'll comment on him in a second. Anything more to say about him?
Just, when you have a good phrase like "I see dead people," that that kind of lives on.
That kid, I remember watching that movie, and I felt like he was actually haunted. That's how good he was in the movie. My number 5, Britney Spears. She was on the Mickey Mouse Club before she became a pop star. I've said this a million times, and I'll say it another million times. Britney Spears, I had a massive crush on because she was, coming out with Baby One More Time right as I was in high school. So it was perfect. I had a huge crush on her.
Do you have a poster of her in your room?
I didn't have a poster. I never did the poster thing.
All right.
I never had any of those posters up in the room. But if I was a poster guy, it would have been filled with Britney posters. But I loved...
All right, maybe we're getting a little too much information.
Number 4.
Thank you, Adam. Go ahead, Kirk.
Number 4, I went with Tatum O'Neal.
I've heard the name, don't know where she's from.
Okay, her dad was a famous actor, Ryan O'Neal, and they appeared together in a movie in the mid-'70s called Paper Moon, and she became the youngest Oscar winner in history at the age of 10.
Wow.
Also, there's a sports connection. Do you know who her husband was?
Does her last name have anything to Tatum O'Neal?
I'll give you a hint. His last name is McEnroe.
Oh, John McEnroe. She was married to him?
Yeah.
Are they still married? I don't think so.
No, they have been long divorced.
I was going to say, he doesn't seem like the easiest guy to get along with, but you never know. You never know. My number 4 is Haley Joel Osment, and he was awesome in The Sixth Sense. I could still watch that movie and still get chills from some of the scenes from that movie. I hated the one where the mom's in the kid, or the the ghost mom is in the kitchen going through things, and she's all angry, and he goes in there, and he just looks terrified. And he was great in that movie. Even if it was like the only really, really, really good movie that he did, it's good enough to carry him for the rest of his career. He's that good.
Number 3.
I'm going to go with Jerry Mathers. Do you have any idea who that is?
No. Adam, do you know who Jerry Mathers is? He has a guess.
Okay.
My guess is the kid from Jerry Maguire.
No, that's.
Oh, the 8-pound head. Did you know a human head weighs 8 pounds?
I think his name's Lipnicki. Or
Yes, Jonathan Lip. No, wait,
Lipnicki.
I
Okay.
think you're right.
Jerry Mathers is from a famous television show in the early 60s called Leave It to Beaver.
Someone just put that in there.
And they even did a Leave It to Beaver 20 years later where they were adults. But as a child in Leave It to Beaver, it was just a classic show and all the things he used to get himself into. And it's a character that I think still resonates today.
So I wasn't even close.
Leave It to Beaver, I've seen a few things, a few episodes, but nothing too crazy. My number 3 is actually something that every Friday night my family watched TGI, or Thank God It's Friday, TGIF, and those 4 shows. I can't remember what order they went in. But my number 3 actor is going to be Jaleel White because he was Urkel. I loved Family Matters. That was an amazing show. All of us used to gather around the TV. Did I do that? It's just amazing. It's just, I love Urkel. Please tell me you've watched Family Matters.
I saw it a couple times, and I definitely know who Urkel is. He definitely was a character that was memorable, and
Yes.
I think those are sprinkled through the decades where they have that certain thing about him that is memorable. But
Yeah. And then we kind of look back on this show and realize that he was harassing the daughter of the police officer, of Carl. And it was more creepy than we actually remember. It seems like when we go back and we watch shows, sometimes we're like, wow, that's probably not allowed these days.
yeah, I would have thought the dad would have had him hauled off or something.
Yeah, he's a cop. He's a Chicago
Yeah.
policeman. He should have figured it out.
Yeah.
All right. That's my number 3.
Number 2.
Number 2, I went with who you mentioned earlier, Shirley Temple.
Mm.
From the 1930s. She was big. I think she got to a point where she was making $10,000 a week,
Whoa.
which in the 1930s went a long way. I think a lot of that money ended up in her parents' pocket. So I don't know how much of it she ended up seeing, but
Yeah, that's sad.
But very memorable child actor, and one of the first to burst on the scene, going on 100 years ago.
One of my things growing up, I hated ordering it because I felt like it wasn't manly, I guess. But when I was a kid, Shirley Temple, the drink is great. Sprite and grenadine, I think it is. It's just amazing. And then you get the little cherry on top. So
There you go.
only child actor with a drink named after her, I would think. There's no Haley Joel Osment out there.
That's true.
Okay. My number 2 is going to be someone who took a turn as an adult, made her way back, but Lindsay Lohan was she was maybe the most famous child actor for a good period of 6 to 7, 8 years there. She did the Parent Trap. She did so many different things. And of course I had a crush on her. I mean, come on. These are all the actresses when I was growing up, going to high school, all this other stuff. So Lindsay Lohan's my number 2.
Before I hit the sounder for number 1, do you guys think you'll have the same number 1? Because in my mind, there's only one right answer here.
Number 1.
I think I might have your number 1. I don't think Kirk has your number 1.
I think who you think is number 1, I definitely considered, and I definitely.
Well, if
think
he's
we'll
not your
have a
number
different-
1, then he's not even in your top 5.
He was.
You made the late change with him.
I made the late change with him.
Oh, wow. He got pushed out for who?
So my number 1 is Ron Howard.
Okay.
Played
All right.
Opie on the
Yep.
Andy Griffith Show.
Yep.
Which launched his career.
Yep.
I think so often we look at little kids on shows and they either act really cute or they act over the top or this or that. And he, to me, was such a good actor. You never thought of him acting. I think he could make you laugh. He could make you cry. And he always has resonated with me. On top of which, I think that's one of the greatest shows of all time.
Opie and Anthony? Or no, that's a radio show. Never mind. What was the show called?
It's called the
Andy Griffith
Show.
Is that the one with the whistles in the beginning?
Yes, it is. And if that's all you know about it, then you need to look deeper.
No, my dad. I've watched many episodes of this with my dad.
All right.
He watched Andy Griffith's show a lot. Opie and Anthony's radio show. Was he also Eddie Munster?
No, he was not, but he was.
Why is that? Why do I think that?
Eddie Munster was a kid named Butch Patrick.
That's it. And he was also in Apollo 13.
So Ron Howard?
No, Butch Patrick.
Okay.
That's all I got.
So Ron Howard was Richie Cunningham on Happy Days, and then he got going in as a career as a director, and has been tremendously successful as well.
Yeah, he really has. He really has. All right. My number one, I think, is what Adam was thinking as the number one. But if you were a kid that grew up in my era, Macaulay Culkin is the only answer for number one, because he did the Home Alone movie. One of my favorite movies is Richie Rich. That was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I considered putting The Kid from Blank Check on this list because I love that movie, but he only did that movie. Macaulay Culkin's the only answer for someone from my generation.
I think you're right.
Why did you took him off the list just because you knew I had him on the list?
I knew he'd get mentioned in yours, but also that was a really big movie. I don't think his career had the longevity that would qualify. And, the age that I come from, Ron Howard was pretty darn good, and he's kept it up for going on 60, 70 years.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. Macaulay Culkin, unfortunately, I don't even really understand what happened in his life, but I know there was lots of things that happened after. And you were talking about it before, like we're talking about these people in a good way, but a lot of their lives are messed up after they do the childhood acting thing. It seems like that just messes you up.
Well, I think a lot of things happen when you do things that are normally things that adults do, but you do it at a very young age.
Yeah.
Before we leave this, I just wanted to mention a couple others.
Oh, he's got honorable mentions.
Honorable mention, Bart Simpson, who I think I thought he would have aged out by now, but he's really kept his youth.
Yes, he has kept his youth. Good one, Kirk.
Also, Gary Coleman, who we got to know first, I think, on Different Strokes, but also has a local connection with the movie The Kid from Left Field that was filmed here in the former Mission Valley Stadium.
Oh.
And another one my wife mentioned that I really liked too was Fred Savage from the Wonder Years. I thought that was a tremendous show.
Yeah, I thought about him. I also thought about Neil Patrick Harris for, what was it, Doogie Howser?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't make the list. I also had Shia LaBeouf on there because he was in Even Stevens on Disney. Also thought about Hilary Duff. She was in Liz McGuire. That's all I got. That's all I got for that. I'm running out of child actors that I cannot. Oh, I guess I could say the Olsen twins too. They were in Full House.
Yeah.
The Olsen twins made a huge career out of them being the daughter of Danny Tanner.
You could do others you have a whole 6 kids on the Brady Bunch, and
yeah, those kids are
Partridge Family.
The Partridge Family.
Then you go back to, I don't know, have you ever heard of Our Gang?
No.
Okay.
No.
We can move on.
Okay. Let's go to a question from Carlos because we have a couple minutes and I thought this was a fun question. It says, do you guys sometimes wish you had a real blue collar job? So blue collar job, I've already had one before. And I was an electrician. So I did that for like a year and a half. Jesse, if you're out there, you were my boss. You know exactly what, I'm talking right to you. But I got out of college, couldn't find a job. My friend was an electrician. And so I finally was like, I need something. So I became an electrician and I learned a lot about construction. I also learned that I don't have a great back. And so that's, kind of one of the reasons why I got back into the sitting at a desk workforce. But have you ever had any blue collar jobs?
I think it would depend on what exactly you count that. I think in my teenage years, I did a lot of things that were labor intensive, like delivering newspapers. And,
you had to ride a bike.
Yeah. Sub for a guy washing dishes at a pizza restaurant that lasted about 2 days.
Why did it only last 2 days? You were over it?
They are always wanting dishes washed and they had to get them back out, and yet you couldn't start washing if the temperature fell below a certain standard.
Oh yeah.
And I think their system was not adequate to keep the water temperature up.
So they were yelling at you and you couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with that.
Adam, have you ever had a blue collar job before? I don't really know much about your past jobs.
I used to work at my first job ever when I worked was in high school. I worked at Old Navy.
Okay. Wow. I did not expect you to say a clothing store.
Not blue jeans, blue collar.
Blue jeans.
Oh, I mean, it's not a blue collar job, but it is a tough job because you have to deal with people all the time. I
Mhm.
never worked in a clothing store. I worked as a bagger at Vaughn's when I got out of high school. And then I've worked as an electrician. I've worked as a door hanger person. I would drive through neighborhoods and look for houses with roofs that have like the wood shingles instead of the tile shingles, and I would go put a little hanger on there.
I was a vendor at the stadium and did a lot of walking around and selling for that. That was always enjoyable.
You were a vendor, like you were one of those, hey, get your hat here.
Well, we sold sodas or popcorn or peanuts.
Oh, hey, get your peanuts here. You throw them at them. That was the best part.
We did at times.
All right. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you for coming up with the countdown topic. I appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. We will talk to you next week, I believe. Yes. But appreciate you coming in.
Thanks. Had a good time.
Awesome. So when we get back, Klug versus the Fans for a qualification for a trip to Las Vegas, 833-288-0973. 2 hours down, 2 hours to go here on 97.3 The Fan. I'm Matt Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. They are off for today. They will be back on Monday. Chris is going to have to tell us the story of him officiating a wedding because I can't even really imagine how it's going to go. And he keeps doing this thing to his godson where he sends a new player picture with their number and he's counting down the days until his wedding. And so Chris started at like 30 and then sent him a new person every single day with the number that reflected how many days left. And Connor apparently has not understood it yet. I don't think I would understand it either. Just random Uncle Chris sending me pictures on a daily basis that of old athletes, but that is actually something that Chris does. We're going to play some Klug versus the Fans here in just a second because we got a qualification to Las Vegas. Also, a little bit later, we have the Big Five, and I'm going to recap everything. The last 3 weeks it's been for the San Diego Padres. I'll do that at 5 o'clock, and then we'll hear from LZ Harrington of the Aztecs basketball team, freshman, and we'll do that at 5:40. So thank you to Jake Garegnani for coming in. Thank you to Kirk Kenney for coming in. If you missed any part of that, you can go to the YouTube, type in 97.3 The Fan, or you can go to Gwynn and Chris SD and go back in time a little bit. But
Odyssey app.
Sorry, I had you down. Go ahead.
You can also find everything on demand on the Odyssey app.
You can. We chapter each and every day. So meaning, and you know what? I've met a few people that really love this feature, and I think it is actually really cool. Where you go into the show and it breaks down each segment and what you're talking about, and you click, and it'll take you exactly to that segment. So good call, Adam. Odyssey app should be on the top of everyone's mind. All right. Klug versus the Fans. We are going to be playing for a grand prize, which is a trip to Las Vegas. And it's a trip for two to see Sammy Hagar in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to the March 20th show, a 2-night stay at Park MGM, and a $100 gas card. Sammy Hagar returns to Las Vegas with his Best of All Worlds Las Vegas residency. Get ready to rock with your favorite hits from the Van Halen years, Sammy solo hits, and more, only in Las Vegas this March 11th through the 21st and September 18th through the 26th at Dolby Live at Park MGM. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. We have one line open, so if you've never played before, call us 833-288-0973. You're taking on Adam Klug.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
Howdy do.
now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question's going to get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it, we're on Burgundy, and Adam gets it right, you are eliminated. If Adam gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, thank you. Let us know before the first question. You'll get that question for free today. Let's go to
try it again. First time.
Oh, if you are a first-time player, that was much better. Much better. Make sure you let us know, because I had someone tell me one day, I was a first-time player. You got to let us know, or else we can't give you that first question for free. Let's go to our first contestant, and that would be Cole. Cole is a chatter. Hello, Cole.
Hi, Cole.
Hello.
Hello. Are you ready to play?
Hello. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Here we go, Cole. Question number 1. What NFL team is the only team to have one win this season?
The Raiders?
The Raiders. Incorrect. Stay there, Cole, just in case. Adam, what NFL team is the only team to have only one win this season?
It's not the Jets. It's not the Dolphins. It's not the Saints, is it? That actually might be my guess. Hold tight.
Hold tight.
I'm just going through all the bad teams. I'll go with my absolutely hated rival, the New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints. Wow, they've won 2 games.
I told you I didn't think it was the right answer.
The Titans have
I should've
only
gotten that.
won 1 game. They also fired their coach
I really
earlier
just
this
wanted
year.
to take a jab at the Saints because
Hey, that's fine with me. We move on to the next question. I mean, we should be taking jabs at the Saints. Why not? Cole, ready to go for question number 2?
Yep.
Drake May played quarterback at what school?
Duke.
Duke.
No.
I'll give you another go because you stopped yourself.
UNC.
UNC is correct. I know the chat is going to be very upset with me after that, but I may have been too nice on that one. Anyway, I think this one is going to be a real test. So here's question number 3, Cole.
Don't know if I'm disappointed I didn't get the Titans or if I just was happy to take a shot at the Saints.
Both. Cole, who was the last Georgia football player to win the Heisman?
Georgia football player to win the Heisman.
Yes, the last one. You can also pass if you don't have an answer.
That's the new
I mean, the
in-vogue
Mr.
strategy.
Georgia himself.
Sorry, what?
Mr. Georgia himself.
I'm just talking about a Georgia college football
University of
player.
Georgia.
Yeah, University of Georgia. Which one won the Heisman last?
I'm going to pass.
Okay, he's going to pass. And this is the in vogue thing, Adam. Everybody likes to pass. But I wrote this question because I knew Adam was going to be doing
With
this.
a Georgia grad in here, huh?
But I don't know that you would remember this. What's the answer?
Are you crazy?
I don't know.
Herschel Walker.
Okay, he didn't even hesitate. So there you go. I'm sorry, Cole.
I don't know who the last Jordan. I think he's the. There's only been 2 winners.
Frank
Sinkwich would be the other one.
Frank Sinkwich. I thought like maybe someone would think Matthew Stafford won it.
Nope.
They've had some great football players come through recently. All right.
That was a first round question.
That was a first round question. Okay, I got to rethink
for
my
me at
questions.
least. I mean, come on, I'm Georgia grad.
Excuse me. Yes, you are a Georgia grad. You love your Georgia Bulldogs. And let's go to Steven. Hello, Steven.
Hello.
You ready to play?
Yeah, Frank Sinkwich won the Heisman in 1942. He's the only other Georgia player to win that.
All right. Adam knew more about the Heisman than I thought.
I feel like
you are the human almanac. All right. What? Let's do this one. Where did Josh Allen play college football?
Josh Allen. Somewhere like North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Now, am I supposed to pretend like Chris does? Like, oh man, really
this is a
difficult
hard
question,
one.
Wyoming.
Yes, I'm sorry about that, Steven. Wyoming is the correct answer. That's where Josh Allen played college football.
Can't have the segment end that early, right?
No, you're right. You're
I
right.
gotta get these.
We did the right thing. Let's go to the next contestant. You know what? Let's go to our guy, Brandon. Hello, Brandon.
What up, guys? How are you?
Pretty good.
Welcome to the show.
I know you are ready. So here we go. Question number 1. What team did the Aztecs basketball team lose to in the opening round of last year's NCAA tournament?
That's another UNC question.
That is correct. Lots of UNC going around these days. All right, we move to question number 2.
You're supposed to be in the tournament, right?
Who won AL Rookie of the Year this year?
The guy in Sacramento, Nick Kirk.
Nick Kurtz is correct. Nice job.
Incredible rookie season.
He did. I loved it when he had 4 home runs for my fantasy team.
Surprised you didn't ask who won it in the NL.
Well, Drake Baldwin won it in the NL.
Braves.
Yes. And we talked about this yesterday a little bit, or 2 days ago on the Skraby show. The Braves get a first-round pick because he won Rookie of the Year, which is kind of crazy to me.
Is that the
rich
they called
get
him up
richer?
early?
Yeah,
or whatever?
because they didn't wait the 6 weeks to
I don't
manipulate
remember what
service
that's
time.
called. That program that they have.
It's a prospect
promotion
incentive
Good
or
for them.
something. Good for them, Adam says. All right, Brandon.
I am wearing a Padres hat, by the way, for anyone who's not watching on YouTube.
It's okay. Question number 3, Brandon. All right. Where did New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn finish his college playing career?
Woo! There is no way.
I'm gonna pass, and I hope it's not good.
He said he's going to pass, but he hopes it's not Georgia. Adam, where did Aaron Glenn finish his college football career?
Finished. Does that mean he transferred?
Yes.
Boy, this is a really difficult question.
I put it in there
I'm
because
an NFL draft nut. I mean,
I put it in there because they played last night. They talked about Aaron Glenn a bunch. I don't know if they mentioned this.
I didn't
though.
watch with the volume on, although I watched a lot of the game last night. I truly don't know this. This is a guess. I will go with Ohio State.
The Ohio State University.
We have a winner.
We have a winner. Brandon, stay right there. We're going to get your information.
What did he go to school?
The answer is Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, I would have never gotten.
Texas A&M. Let me just look up real quick where Aaron
Glenn having a truly horrifyingly bad season. In his, debut season.
Do you think he's going to get fired? I hope not.
No, I don't think he's going to get fired. The owner's already come out and like expressed
Woody Johnson?
Yeah, but like, you know, the whole thing of how I made Aaron Rodgers fly across the country just to get rid of him, and like now he looks like a laughing stock.
Yeah. Well, you know what's kind of funny is that I had a segment all about Woody Johnson coming up next. And what did the NFL players say about Woody Johnson? We'll
Can't
tell
wait to
you
find out.
On the other side. 97.3. The Fan. Traffic will be later in this break.
This National Veterans and Military.
Football Talk on 97.3 The Fan is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Adam Klug is in here. We just played Klug versus the Fans, and he's giving me a hard time that I asked him a Georgia question as the number 3 question.
Not just that you asked it, but that you thought it would stump me. You were legitimately surprised when I got the answer right.
I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but Adam got it. That should have been a number 1 question for Adam. You know what? I can't mess with super hardcore college football fans because super hardcore college football fans are 100% crazy about their sport and their team, and they know everything. So duly noted. Congratulations to Brandon for qualifying for the Sammy Hagar trip to Las Vegas. Okay, so we just talked about the Jets. We talked about owners. We talked about this yesterday. The NFL would like for the NFL Players Association to stop doing report cards on each team publicly. And so you can, if you didn't know, you can go online, type in 2025 NFL report card, and the Players Association website will come up, and it will show you everything that you need to know for each team. And so I thought this is like one of my favorite things about the NFL season. I love it when these report cards come out, and I love seeing the different teams, and I love seeing the teams that win, even though they have poor conditions and all that stuff. But we now found out who was the one who was asking for these report cards to not come out publicly, and that would be none other than Jets owner Woody Johnson. Now, Woody Johnson, I mean, this guy has had a year. He's had a couple years. He's been in the news for all of the wrong things. It seems to me that Woody Johnson has just lost touch with all reality. But this dude called out a couple weeks ago Justin Fields in front of everyone, and then he wonders why he was rated the worst owner in the NFL by players last season. And he wants it to all be a secret because everybody rates the team terribly and poorly. And so Woody Johnson is trying hard to hide all of this stuff. And I don't know if it's going to work or not. I know that the NFL actually filed a grievance with the NFLPA about this. But because Woody Johnson is so embarrassed about his report card in 2025, I decided that we're going to go through and we're going to look at some of the things in the report card, because when you're trying, everything starts at the top. And I buy into that more and more as I get older, because if you don't have good ownership or good leadership, you're not going to have the most organized team. You're not going to have a well-running machine that some of these NFL franchises are. But the Jets in 2024 overall score were 21st out of all of the 32 teams amongst their votes from players. This last year, 2025, 29th overall. So they dropped 8 spots. And here's where it's hilarious to me, because it says in the overview on the website, rather than addressing concerns, players believe that management responded to feedback by making conditions worse. For example, after receiving low grades for their food program last year, players felt the team cut the food budget and did not retain their long-time dietitian, who was previously their highest-rated staff member. Notably, that former dietitian then took a full-time role with the Kansas City Chiefs, contributing to significant improvements in their food programs and dietitian grades. Now, the players are saying that the dietitian was fine. It's just they're not getting the same thing. They also cite perceived top leadership issues, with some of the players describing the Jets' issues as top-down problems. So the ownership went from a B-, what players rated it in 2024, all the way down to an F, with Woody Johnson receiving the league's lowest owner score for contributing to a positive team culture. So his players don't even think that he has their back. And so maybe that's why there's so many issues with the Jets organization. Maybe that's why they just can't find a winner they can't field a winning team. They haven't done it in a long time. And this year is one of the worst. We were talking about Aaron Glenn. It has been a really, really tough season for him. But here's some of the ratings that caught my attention. When you look at the locker room, D+, rated 26th out of the 32 teams. Some of the things that were asked about: 73% of players feel they have enough room in their individual lockers. 72% of the players feel the locker room size is adequate. So that's not the worst thing, but they are ranked 25th out of the 32 teams for the adequate size of the locker room. Players believe the locker room needs to be updated, so they gave it a D+. The training room, they got a C, which is a very important part of the organization. Also, the training staff got a C. Strength coaches, they have good. They're B+. Team travel, they were right in the middle, so it's not terrible to travel. But the ownership, here's what they said about the ownership. Owner Woody Johnson's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities is 5.58 out of 10 from Jets players, which is 32 of 32 owners in the league. The players feel that Johnson does not contribute to a positive team culture, a rank of 32 out of 32. The players feel that Johnson is somewhat committed to building a competitive team, and that ranks 31 of 32 teams. So I bring all this up because we don't live in this day and age anymore where you could just hide things. Woody Johnson for a long time could have hid all these things. It wasn't easily accessible on the internet like it is now, and it exposes owners for being bad owners. And that's why he doesn't want this out there. He wants to do his own thing, and he wants people to like it. I think if I was a player, I would probably be really upset that he called out Justin Fields as publicly as he did, because that's just something you don't see owners do. You don't see them coming out and talking so poor or so bad about a player while he's still on the team and your starter, that if I'm a teammate of Justin Fields, I'm like watching my back, because Woody Johnson does not have my back at all. What do you thinking, Adam? Do you think that like Woody Johnson has a leg to stand on here with trying to get this stuff hidden?
No, I think he's one of the worst owners in all of professional sports. They've got the longest playoff drought in the NFL, and it starts from the top down. And they've cycled through coaches, they've cycled through quarterbacks, and general managers. It all permeates from ownership.
It does. And another thing that the Jets are ranked along with the other teams, they're right there with the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They rank 30th of 32 teams. And so you could just see that the one thing that always surprises me every single time is that the Kansas City Chiefs give their team and their facilities low ratings, but they still end up going deep in the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl every single year. They rated in 2025 their locker room a D-, their training room a C-, their training staff C. So they're winning even though they don't have the best facilities or anything like that. If you're playing for the Vikings, you get A's across the board if you're a Vikings player, because A+ treatment of families, A- food and dining area, A+ locker room, A- training room. And the Vikings the last few years have been a good team. And if you look through, you can tell which teams are good on a year in, year out basis. 49ers, B+ in certain things. Seattle Seahawks, A- in their treatment of families. They have really high scores with their coaches. But really, this all comes down to Woody Johnson being embarrassed that he is not putting in the money and putting in the time and putting in the work to build a team into a winner. And he's going to blame everybody else, because that's what Woody Johnson does. He blames everybody else. Where he's one of those old school owners who's like, I have all the money. You should be lucky that I'm paying you to play for me, and you will like whatever I give you. And that's just not how it goes anymore. We don't do that anymore. There's no such thing as my way or the highway in professional sports franchises, in my opinion, because ultimately the players hold all the power. And when you're a player and you have one opportunity to, air your grievances about your own team, this NFLPA yearly report card is the place to do that. So I don't know if the NFL is going to ban this or if they're going to stop allowing it to be they're going to stop allowing it to be released publicly. Maybe it's just a private thing, but I really hope that they don't ban this because that would be bad. That would just basically tell everyone that, hey, you can be a bad owner and you can hide behind all of your bad owner decisions. It's just Woody Johnson needs to go. He needs to step down. He'll never do that. The Jets are not a team that's going to be a serious team until Woody Johnson is gone. Same goes with Stephen Ross. Even though the Miami Dolphins rate highly every single year, they were actually in 2025, they were the first out of all teams. So in that case, you can have a really great situation, but you're still not winning. So basically, I say all of this to say, Woody Johnson, don't be such a baby. Put some money into it, get your scores up, and then go out there and tell everyone, hey, I care about my players. I care about everyone. But he's not doing that. He's going to do his Woody Johnson thing, and he's going to ask the NFL to make sure the NFLPA does not release these report cards anymore. But I had fun going through all of that. So that is the latest on Woody Johnson and his report cards. I'm Matt Skraby. This is the Gwynn and Chris program here on 97.3 The Fan. Gwynn and Chris back on Monday. When we get back, we have the Big Five. The all MLB teams have been released, and I want to see if Adam has any sort of grievances with the all MLB team list. Adam's going to join me for the Big Five, and that's next on 97.3 The Fan. All guests on 97.3 The Fan, join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorney, is helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Matt Skraby here with you, filling in for Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. I got Adam Klug here with me. We still got the Big Five, which is coming up next at 5 o'clock. We're going to kind of recap everything that's happened with the Padres in the last few weeks. And then at 5:20, I believe I'm going to bring up what Ben and Woods talked about this morning on their show. And they talked about potential ownership. They talked about potentially people who might be interested in it. And so I want to expound on that just a little bit. But right now, we have a Big Five that's going to be Skraby and Klug. It's going to be awesome. But first, your traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Well, guys, apologies in advance if I don't mention your freeway. There are problems on just about all of them this afternoon. Let me start with this traffic alert in the North County. Southbound 15 transition to East and West 78 is blocked, all due to a jackknife big rig, which apparently left a hazardous materials spill. So, yeah, watch out for lots of confusion there. Also, eastbound 78 at Sycamore, stall car in the slow lane. Another stall reported on La Jolla Village Drive off-ramp, South 805. South 805 before the 54, collision over the right shoulder. Emergency crews got that right lane blocked. Bigger problems on northbound 805. Got this collision at University blocking the 3 left lanes. Also traveling on westbound 8 Mission Gorge. Got a vehicle over the side over to the right shoulder. An important reminder about the upcoming holiday, whether it's a big road trip or just braving LA traffic to see the family for Thanksgiving. Make sure your car is ready with Valvoline Instant Oil Change, a 15-minute drive-through oil change. No appointment needed. Find your nearest location and grab money-saving coupons at SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Before we get into it, if you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. All right, we are into the Big Five. Adam, hit the first number.
Number 5.
By the first number, you mean number 5.
Thank you.
I give you a hard time about this every time.
Yes, it's. But pulling the curtain back for 1 second, we don't know why the Big Five has always started with 5 and gone to 1. It just. That's how
makes sense in the count down to start from
but
5.
But the Big Five, it should be 1 through 5.
Story number 1, story number 2.
I get it. Should we reverse this? I think maybe we should reverse it. We could do that. It's not a big deal.
You do you.
But today we start with number 5, and the all MLB teams were released yesterday. And this year, no Padres made the list, which I think is understandable. But there was a guy who may have been snubbed, and that is Adrian Morejon. He was probably snubbed. They had instead in the first team, they had Aroldis Chapman, and then they had Duran from the Phillies.
So are you saying you think Morejon was the Padres' best reliever? If you think he was the
I'm
snub?
thinking he was second team. Yeah, I would think he was Padres'
over
best
Mason
reliever.
Miller, over Robert Suarez?
I don't think Mason Miller played long enough with the Padres. It doesn't really matter because he played for the A's too. I don't think he.
It's the all MLB team, right?
Sorry?
You said the all MLB team, right?
Yeah, all MLB.
So, I mean, Mason Miller's the best or second best reliever in baseball, right? He should be on that team.
They didn't put him on the team. The second team.
I'll let you read your question. Sorry, go ahead.
Is Diaz and Andres Munoz, which I think Munoz was good enough to be on the first team.
He's great.
But really, my question to you, Adam, is outside of maybe Adrian Morejon not being a part of this, or Robert Suarez not being a part of this, or Mason Miller, Do you think any other Padre deserved to be on the list?
I think you could certainly make a case for Fernando Tatis Jr. Did he finish? I can't remember if it was 7th or 8th in NL MVP voting. Obviously won the Platinum Glove. His defense is incredible. He robbed, 11 million home runs out in right field. And he's an all-around player, right? He didn't lead the league in home runs by any stretch of the imagination, but what I'm saying is he's a 5-tool player, power and speed. He really made improvements, and had great strides this year in his plate discipline, in drawing more walks and increasing his on-base percentage. So I'm not saying I understand why he didn't win it, but if you ask who at least deserved consideration, my pick would have been Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, because you have Cody Bellinger, who won the second team, Corbin Carroll and PCA. And then for the first team,
outfield's tough though. I mean, there's a lot.
Outfield's really tough. For the first team, you have to go through the MVP Aaron Judge, and then you have to go through Julio Rodriguez, and then you have to go through Juan Soto, which you can't have an award season without Juan Soto being mentioned everywhere, even though he did have a great season.
J-Rod's a little overrated, if you ask me.
I'm a little bit on your side there.
I
feel
don't
like
even think he deserved to make.
Year.
I don't even think he deserved to make the All-Star team. Now, granted, he had a great second half, and so that impacts this discussion we're having. But when we're judging who makes the All-Star team based on their first half, his first half was not very good.
Very true. Some of the other players that made the All-MLB team, obviously Shohei was the DH. We're going to talk about the MVP a little bit in the next segment. Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop on the first team, Jose Ramirez, Ketel Marte, Vlad Jr., Cal Raleigh, who did not win an MVP. Pitchers for the first team, Garrett Crochet, Max Fried, Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And we've already talked about the relieving pitchers, but I think Adam's right there. Fernando is probably the only other one. A Platinum Glove's a big deal. This All-MLB team, though, is voted half by the Major League Baseball people and then half by fans. I think it's time to remove the fans as a part of the equation. I would much rather players...
Saying fans don't know ball?
I'm saying they don't know ball like managers of teams do, because those are the guys that are voting. I think the All-Star vote is fine to have fans involved, but when you're giving away awards like this that are going to stand through the test of time, I don't know the fans should be involved.
Not sure first and second team of all MLB or awards to stand the test of time. This is a new thing, isn't it? Didn't they just start doing it?
Yeah, they did like 4 or 5, 3, 4 or 5 years ago. Are we taking this
into account when we're making Hall of Fame votes? No, we use MVP, we use champions, and we use statistics.
On my deathbed, Adam, I'm going to say Fernando should have been on the 2025 All-MLB team.
Number 4.
Disney CEO Bob Iger, which we have learned a little bit more, and we're going to try to get to that later. But Disney CEO Bob Iger said the company is, quote, working tirelessly to close the deal with YouTube TV, expressing hope for a timely resolution to allow subscribers access to Disney content, which does include Monday Night Football, college football, and anything ESPN is behind. Iger asserted that Disney's demanded deal terms are equal to or better than those accepted by other major distributors and reflect the greater value that Disney delivers. The carriage dispute is costly, though. Morgan Stanley analysts estimate Disney is losing about $30 million per week in revenue during the blackout. People are angry about this.
They're not going to be angry for any longer.
Did this just update?
Breaking news, Andrew Marchand from The Athletic. YouTube TV and Disney have agreed to a deal that will restore ESPN and other channels to the service after a 2-week hiatus. Okay. Right in the middle of your question.
Seriously. All right, let's scrap everything I just talked about. No, I think in this case, I'll be up first. Who looks worse in this situation? I think Disney does, because Disney is trying to control the world. And Disney is trying to scoop up as many properties as they possibly can. I believe they made in the fourth quarter revenue or third quarter revenue, $22 billion. That's in revenue for 3 months. They do not need any more money. And I know that they probably
do not need any more money. The least American thing I've ever heard.
I know. I'm a, I like capitalism, but I don't like it when you have a bajillion dollars. And
these are for-profit companies, Skraby.
They are for-profit companies. I get it. But you know what you're doing? You're hurting the consumer. And that's what I don't like. Because you know who texted me 2 weeks in a row? Will Galvez. When we were talking about the Monday Night Football game, he used to work on the station. He said, well, it'd be nice if I could see it. People are angry about this.
I feel like I've got a pretty good perspective on the whole
Let's hear it.
YouTube TV, ESPN standoff, and it's that ESPN is very much at fault for what's going on, in my opinion. They are the most expensive channel by leaps and bounds for any cable provider to carry, but they don't get the blame, I don't think, for the carriage dispute. I think everybody who's got YouTube TV is just mad at YouTube TV and yelling, hey, YouTube TV, get it done, get me ESPN back. And a lot of people are either threatening to leave or are actually leaving UTV and are mad at YouTube TV, when in actuality, it's ESPN that charges an insane premium to YouTube TV and all the other carriers to carry their channel, yet they don't receive the blowback or the ire of fans. They just say, get it done. We want ESPN back, when, ESPN's charging an arm and a leg to carry their channel.
Yeah, I did
That's
read.
my perspective.
That's a good perspective.
As a non-YouTube TV, but I don't subscribe to them, but I've had plenty of other providers who have had carriage disputes in the past.
Oh yeah, it seems like we have a new one of these things like every couple months. But like Smash the Number said on the chat, I got the $20 credit from YouTube TV. You had to do it online proactively, so they are giving out credits for missing out on time. But I think that's interesting. This is an ESPN problem. It's not a YouTube. I always thought it was not a YouTube TV problem, but ESPN should be more on the hook for this stuff.
Number 3.
The NFL's 2025 kickoff rule change has backfired because they moved the touchback to the 35-yard line to encourage dynamic kickoffs. And after years of minimizing the play due to injury risk, the new rule dramatically increased returns of kicks from 31.7% last year to 79.3% through week 7 of this year.
That's kind of big.
That's huge. This increase unsurprisingly led to more injuries, specifically concussions. League data obtained by The Athletic shows the concussion rate per 100 kickoffs jumped from 0.29 to 1.48, which is massive. A rate 5 times higher than the baseline for just a regular scrimmage play. So the kickoff is the most dangerous play on the football field.
We already knew that.
Adam, what's the solution for the kickoff? I personally love the dynamic kickoff, but what is the solution?
What's the solution? Depends on what you're trying to solve. Are you trying to keep players healthy, or are we trying to put the entertaining product out there? If you're trying to have player safety in mind, what's the solution? Get rid of the kickoff. I mean, it's exciting, but how often is there a good return? Almost never.
No, but
they take it out of the end zone or whatever, and they run it back to the 22-yard line. Great. Not exciting. Waste clock. Gets people hurt.
So just give the other team the ball at the 30-yard line
or the 25, whatever.
Okay.
That's the solution if you're trying to keep players healthy in one of the most dangerous sports we have. Take out the most dangerous play that also yields very little reward.
I find that to be a very rational take.
That's what I generally have as rational.
Yes, I don't.
Just like I would get rid of the onside kick and make you go for it. You get 4th and 20, let's call it.
I'm with that too.
You have a higher percentage chance of converting that, and it's more exciting.
The onside kick is the most worthless play in football because 1 out of 100 is recovered.
Let's all line up 10 yards in front of each other and run at each other. full
here's what I think. If the NFL is so concerned, and we've said this before, why are they trying to go to an 18-game schedule? I mean,
but that's why I asked you the question. The NFL isn't actually
no, they're not concerned.
Forget the NFL, the 18-game schedule. Thursday Night Football is there's no justification for it whatsoever. The product is terrible and it's completely unsafe.
It is. Last night's game was not fun to watch. And I think the solution is they're going to have to remove the kickoff. I think that's what it is. If they're going to try to protect their players, that's the only thing. It went from 32% returns to almost 80 in 1 year. So I don't want to see guys get concussions. Just get rid of the kickoff.
Number 2.
ESPN is ordering several.
Another ESPN story.
Yes. Oh man.
Maybe hates ESPN. Breaking news.
I guess yeah. Chris isn't here, so I can talk all the trash I want about ESPN. It's ordering several on-air talents like Dan Orlovsky, Kendrick Perkins, Mina Kimes, and Laura Rutledge to cut their marketing ties to this controversial Papaya Gaming, per Front Office Sports. Stephen A.
Smith is the main guy.
Stephen A. Smith is the primary guy of Papaya's ad campaign, promoting the solitaire game with a Beat Steven challenge, but news emerged of a federal lawsuit accusing the company of falsely marketing games of skill and employing, quote, tailored bots to control the outcomes of tournaments, end quote. what is the lesson of this? I'm gonna go to you first because you're a boss man. You would have to make a ruling on something.
Did you
like
say
that.
they are or are not making Stephen A. get?
Oh, they are.
Okay,
I believe.
so it's not just the others, and he gets to get away with it.
Yes.
What's the lesson? You have to do research and know what kind of company you're going into business with and becoming a partner with. I mean, it's the same way here at 97.3 The Fan when we bring sponsors aboard, or when look, all of the on-air talent here have endorsements as well. You hear Chris with Spiro's and Ben and Woods with 7 Mile Casino. Like if 7 Mile Casino were some shady operation that was linked with the mafia, like we wouldn't be doing business with them. But they aren't. That they're a terrific casino, and we've got a long-standing relationship with them. And my point is, you can't get become partners and get into bed with a company without knowing who you're getting into bed with.
I should update this. I read it wrong. Stephen A. Smith is allowed to keep it, while everybody else is not.
That's a bigger issue.
That's a bigger issue.
That's a gigantic. Now that's really what the question should be: is why does he get to continue endorsing the app while everybody else can't? That's going to sow division within your on-air talent that he gets to get away with something. He's got preferential treatment because he's the highest paid talent at ESPN.
Yeah, I can't get behind this. I mean, Stephen A. Smith he's becoming too big. He's become too much. Like, he's everywhere, and I don't necessarily need Stephen A. Smith on my phone, but why would Stephen A. Smith want to be involved with a company like
you
this?
Don't want ESPN making money, and you'd think ESPN Stephen A. Smith's too big.
All
you have to do is not consume his content.
I don't.
If you don't, so then.
But why would Stephen A. Smith ever want to be involved with this? It's known as a fake, a bad app.
Point to money.
It's always coming back.
But Stephen A's got enough money, right? He doesn't need all the money, right?
Well, he better have a lot of money. He's supposedly running for president soon.
Number 1.
This is the third MVP for Aaron Judge, and he's putting himself into rarefied air. We're going to talk more about that a little bit later, probably. Has Aaron Judge done enough, Adam, to be in the Hall of Fame already?
Yes, he has. He's the second most dominant player of the last decade behind Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be getting the Barry Bonds treatment the way Ohtani did in the playoffs. I've never seen, an on-base percentage. His OBP's over 400. His slugging is outrageous. He's not only the most feared power hitter, even more so than Ohtani, but he also has the talent and contact ability to win a batting title.
Yeah, I mean, he hit 331, I believe, last year.
He's incredible. We looked at the numbers before the show, and he'll likely get to 500 career home runs. Now, he blossomed a little bit later in his career than other players, so I don't know that he's going to reach 600 or obviously beyond that, but I think he'll hit 500 home runs. And while I'm not saying he'll make the Hall of Fame because he's hitting 500 home runs. I'm not saying it's an automatic thing anymore. I'm saying he's already a Hall of Famer, and the cherry on top will be that he will also hit 500 home runs.
Yeah, the MVP vote last night, we didn't actually talk about it and break it down, but Aaron Judge got 17 first place votes. Cal Raleigh got 13. So it wasn't like a complete run over like Ohtani did to the rest of the National League, but Judge, his third MVP overall, second consecutive. He's the 13th player to be named MVP at least 3 times. He's got to be a Hall of Famer already. Shohei Ohtani's already a Hall of Famer.
Shohei Ohtani's the greatest baseball player of all time. And I don't even think that's a hot take.
You're going to upset all of the Babe Ruth people.
Have any of them actually seen Babe Ruth play? I don't even think it's close. I'm not saying he's the most accomplished. I'm not saying he's obviously doesn't have the home runs.
Yeah.
And the statistics, the volume of statistics. He's the most talented baseball player of all time. And I don't even think it's up for debate.
I can't 100% disagree with you because of some of the things that he's been doing. New Balance tweeted out or posted a picture of a unicorn when he won his MVP, and that's what he is. He is. No one else is going to do what he can do. He stole 59 bases last year. I know he slowed down a little bit this year.
He's the second best hitter in baseball and also an all-star pitcher.
Although he did show that he has weaknesses in the playoffs because he did not have a good performance in the playoffs, but they still won, so it doesn't really matter. Small sample size, but that's when it matters. Clayton Kershaw is going to go down as like one of the worst.
But Clayton Kershaw is over a long period of time. Shohei Ohtani doesn't have like stacked poor postseasons.
I also just think sometimes, like, how did the Angels mess this up with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same team? How?
An extremely dysfunctional organization.
Yeah, that is absolutely.
They don't
right.
get credit. The Angels don't get credit for being like in the category of, sorry, Clay in the South Bay, close your ears, earmuffs. The Cleveland Browns, the Raiders, the Commanders, some of those types of organizations, but the Angels belong in that category.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. All right, that's it for the Big Five. Thank you very much, Adam Klug, for being a part of that. When we get back here, final hour of the show, I'm Matt Skraby, filling in for Gwynn and Chris. But I wanted to break down everything that's happened in the last 3 weeks or so for the Padres, because there's been a lot, and I want to go through it. And I also want to tell you something that I looked up earlier. I am a phrase, and I will tell you what that phrase is when I get back here on 97.3 The Fan. There's Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble, and Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well, but our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Skraby. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
So we are League 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off a birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel, but he wants to attack me. Squirrely! Ah. We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Skraby, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble, and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us, and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble, and Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well, but our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Skraby. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
Week 10 now, and it's getting really windy. Actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! Ah. We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Skraby, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble, and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us, and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, so he's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So, all guests here on 97.3 The Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Matt Skraby filling in for the last hour of Gwynn and Chris. Adam Klug here with me as well. When we get to the bottom of the hour, the end of the show, the end of 97.3 The Fans Week, I'm going to give you the name of today's biggest fan, and also I am going to play Elsie Harrington for all of you, San Diego State basketball player, freshman. He was on the show earlier this week, and he has started with a bang. So if you're not familiar with Elsie Harrington, he was one of the highly touted players coming out of high school, and he went to San Diego State. And it seems like he's going to be a pretty good player for San Diego State. So you'll get to know him a little bit more at the end of the hour. I also want to hear from Craig Stammen on Ben and Woods earlier this week, because I didn't get a chance to play the clips, but they asked him some great questions. Like, how does he plan to value the analytics? And I think that's an important question, because it was something that we talked about many, many, many times throughout the season. Also, what does he think of small ball mentality? I am curious to hear what he thinks about that. I'm not personally against bunt culture as much as everybody else is, but because I do think it's necessary at times. But Craig Stammen, they asked him that, and I think that's an interesting question, and I'll play that for you. Also, the MLB free agency, if we have time, I want to go through an article from ESPN that went through each team and gave one thing they learned about each team during the general manager meetings in Las Vegas. But it's been a lot more of changes to the Padres this offseason than I would thought it would be. The offseason began after that loss to the Cubs on October 2nd. And that does seem like 6 months ago, but that was actually only 43 days ago. So there have been more events in the last 43 days than some teams getting into throughout an entire offseason. And things have been coming out as fast, and I do understand that. Let's list them real quick. You have the Padres going down in the playoffs. You have Mike Schilt retiring. You have Craig Stammen becoming the manager, and now the potential sale of the team. And I was trying to come up with a different way to talk about this, but I sometimes get feedback that I'm too overly positive about things. But I looked up the term, and I said this, I have a phrase that describes me well. And I looked up this term earlier, and I am an optimistic pessimist. And here's the definition of that. An optimistic pessimist is someone who anticipates negative outcomes, but remains hopeful that things could improve, or is motivated by the potential for a better result. That's where I am at with everything. I am fearful that the unknown is here and the team might change. But truly, I'm going to try and believe that things are going to be good. That's just who I am. And no matter how bad things get, my brain has to rationalize with something positive. It's just how it works. So, I do understand the frustration out there about some of the things. And Nate wants me to add to the list of news, Darvish being out for 2026. And that is definitely something that came out of nowhere as well. So I understand it, and I understand the frustration. Let's go through these things one by one. The playoff loss, can't sugarcoat that. So we don't ever really need to talk about it. They didn't get it done. That is the truth. Mike Shildt retiring was actually pretty shocking, but at the same time, lots of people wanted him out. So for those people, they got what they wanted. But in retrospect, I think this is probably for the best, because you want someone that's fully invested in the team. And Mike Shildt cited health problems throughout the year. He cited different things that were taking a toll on him throughout the year. And if he wasn't in it 100%, then he was right for stepping down and retiring, because you don't want a guy who's only half in it. And Mike Shildt also doesn't seem like a guy who would ever be half in it. And so when he retired, I think that was pretty shocking, because no one expected that to happen. And it was shocking because he retired with time left on his contract. And it was shocking because he left money on the table. So that was a hit to the system. But, things got smoothed out after that all happened. Then Craig Stammen being hired was another shock. But I've said this before. I said it earlier. Craig Stammen is the manager of the Padres, and I can't change it. So the only thing I could do is have Craig Stammen prove it to me and prove it to all of us that he could do the job. I think he deserves a little bit of time before we all come to the conclusion that he can't do the job. I'm not one of those people. I'm going to wait and see what he can do, because, again, he is surrounding himself with a lot of smart people. Ruben Niebla got a promotion so that he can be, more in the ear of Craig Stammen. And Craig Stammen does not seem like a guy who it's his way or the highway. He seems like more of a guy who is going to listen to his coaches, listen to his players, listen to the front office, and he's going to make a decision that's best for the whole. But if he can't do the job, we'll have that conversation at a later date. But going into the year, I'm going to hope for the best. And I'll say this, about Craig Stammen. It seems like a long shot in our head right now, but what if they get through this season and they're a good team? What if he does a good job? All of this worrying was for nothing. And so that's why when people are on the internet already crushing this move and saying that they have no chance and that he's the guy who's going to drive them into the ground, I don't understand that, because I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that Craig Stammen is going to be so bad that they are going to start losing. That's not something that I think is going to happen. But again, he's going to have to prove it. And so I think he knows that. I think that he accepts that challenge. And I also think the Padres know that as well. They know that they have to have him prove it to all of us. Now, the sale of the team does scare me the most out of all the things that have happened this offseason, but it's more about the unknown than anything else. I am not good with the unknown. I don't like the unknown, which I don't really know many people that like the unknown, but we don't know what's going to happen here coming up in the next few years. John Seidler has said he is going to find a buyer that wants to continue Peter's legacy and continue his vision. And I do believe that. I think that John Seidler would not just hand over the team to someone that's not going to take care of it, because in the end, this is Peter's legacy outside of his children. This is his legacy. The Padres are his legacy, and you have to bring someone in that is going to buy into that And you're going to have to bring someone in that's going to invest in that legacy. So in the end, again, I think this could be a good thing for us fans and a good thing for the Padres. I've seen the names. We Benna Woods, there's a clip on Twitter at 97.3 the fan SD. They were talking about the couple rich guys earlier today, Stan Kroenke, Joe Lacob. And I have a friend up in the Bay Area that is very he's in the mix with some of the reporters up there, and we were texting a little bit. And he's obviously, this is not official or anything like that. I want to make that clear that I'm not trying to start a rumor, but he is hearing from his people that Joe Lacob is interested in getting a baseball team. He's interested in adding that to his portfolio, and he already has an NBA team. He already has a WNBA team. And we talked a little bit earlier. I can't remember if it was off the air or on the air, but he was also in the mix for the Angels. He really wanted the Angels until Artie Moreno closed it down and stopped selling the team. But one of the things that I think people are going to love the most, from what my friend just told me, if Joe Lacob decides to buy the team, now this is way far off. He really wanted, I guess, to buy the Giants years ago, but the Giants don't want to give up the team to him and give him all of the control. He tried to buy the A's. Fisher didn't want to sell it to him. So from the inside, I guess he's told people before that he really wants to get a team that can stick it to the Giants and stick it to the A's. And that means, to me, Joe Lacob is someone who's going to put money into the team. He's not going to just let them be bad. And so, again, this is not any confirmation of news. I'm not breaking any news. I'm just relaying a conversation I had with a friend who lives up in the Bay Area and is a very connected guy. I really think that if they bring in a guy who has, or guy or gal or a group who has money, they could take this team to the next level. Because right now, we've talked about the budget things here in the last couple years where they may not be able to spend. How much are they going to be able to spend? What's the budget limit? Blah, 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 blah. With a guy who comes in like Joe Lacob and has money, he can infuse money in that. But I don't think he just wants to be like a silent partner. That would mean that he wants full control of the team. And I don't know what the Padres are willing to do in that regard. I don't know if they are just willing to sell off their portion or if they're willing to sell off everything. And so when you're looking at potential buyers and you're looking at the exploring the sale, all I can ask from the front office of the Padres is to do the homework that they're already doing and make sure you're leaving this team in a good place. I don't want to start over with this team. The last 6 years, San Diego and the Padres have built something really, really great. And I don't want that to come to an end. And I don't think that's going to come to an end. And I don't think this year, last year before the season, we talked about the lawsuit between the family and Shill Seidler. And we were like, oh, how will this hang over the season? I honestly forgot about the lawsuit a couple months into the season. Not even a couple months, like a month into the season. So I don't think this is going to have an impact on 2026. All of this stuff is behind the scenes. They've already assured everyone that they're going to put the same amount of effort into the team in 2026 while they're exploring this sale. And I believe them, and I have to believe them because, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the wins. And they have been winning lately. So they have not told us lies. They have done their part of the job. Now, maybe the players haven't performed when they needed to. But as far as building the team, building the roster, putting money into this team, they have done that. And I am going to take that and believe that they're going to find an owner that's going to love this team, just like they did and just like Peter Seidler did. So lots going on with the Padres. I understand why you're feeling the way you are, but let's all give it a shot together. I'm Matt Skraby. This is the Gwynn and Chris show on 97.3 The Fan. I'm filling in for Gwynn and Chris. They'll be back on Monday. When we get back, Craig Stammen He was on with Ben and Woods. I will play you some of those clips I talked about earlier. What does he think of the small ball mentality? That's next. This hour of Sports Talk is brought to you by SD Collectibles. Get ready, sports and Pokemon collectors. SD Collectibles Card Show is back at Liberty Station with over 100 vendor tables, November 22nd and 23rd. Find sports cards, Pokemon memorabilia, and more. Visit sdcollectibles.com for more info. That's sdcollectibles.com. Matt Skraby with you here on 97.3 The Fan. Gwynn and Chris off for today. They will be back on Monday. Before we get into the Craig Stammen audio, I would like to talk about the Pokemon that we just talked about, the Pokemon card show and all that. And I heard the other day from, I think it was Frank or Braden or both, when we were changing the shows. And so Frank and Braden were going out, all of us were coming in, and Frank and Braden said that they were talking about Pokemon and people were relating Pokemon, like in who would be which Pokemon on the station. And I heard that I was a Snorlax. Like, I don't think I'm Snorlax. And if you don't know what Snorlax is, it's just this big Pokemon who sleeps a lot. I don't think I'm Snorlax whatsoever. I would more be like, I think in high school, they called me Pikachu because I bleached my hair when I was a freshman. This was back in 1999. So it wasn't like recently or anything, but I was called Pikachu. I would even really like to be Charmander or something because he's kind of cool. But Snorlax, I don't sleep all that much. I wish I slept as much as Snorlax. I see you on the chat, Cole. Checks out on Snorlax, huh? I don't think I'm Snorlax. If you have a Pokemon, a cool Pokemon that you think I am, come into the chat and let us know. Gwynn and Chris SD, 97.3 The Fan. Ooh, Gonzo said Bulbasaur. I like Bulbasaur. He's kind of cool. Although he's the plant Pokemon. I like Charizard or Charmander. I think Charizard's the evolved one. Anyway, I went way too fast. SD Mike says I'm gonna have to look up different Pokemon. Snorlax and Pikachu aren't great fits. Thank you very much, SD Mike 87. All right, Ben and Woods. Earlier this week, they had Craig Stammen, new Padres manager, on the show, and they asked him a lot. So you can go back to 973thefansd.com, or you can go to Ben and Woods on Twitter, or you can go to 973thefansd on Twitter, or you can go to the Odyssey app and go back and go to their Wednesday show, because that's when they talked to Craig Stammen. But they asked him some really good stuff. And I'm going to start with the small ball mentality. What does he think of small ball mentality? Now, the reason they asked is because this was a huge part of the DNA of this team in the last couple of years. And again, I'm not a hater of small ball philosophy, but I do think that sometimes giving up that out to sacrifice someone a second is counterproductive. And so Ben Woods asked Craig Stammen what he thinks about small ball.
Yeah, the way I look at that, like, we've got great players. We got to allow those players to be great. And there's certain players in our clubhouse that are love those moments, love those opportunities to change the game, and we got to allow them to change the game. Now, is bunting still a part of baseball? Yeah, there's ways to create runs in certain situations with certain hitters at the plate and certain runners on bases and certain situations where, like, we could use small ball, and we've been effective at that, as a team. But I also think, like, we can take some opportunities to take some shots and hopefully improve on that. You spoke about the home run, where we ranked in the league in home runs. And, I think we all agree we got the talent on the team to be better than that. And we're going to work to see what's best for our team and create an offense that's best for our personnel, and manage them that way. And, hopefully that leads to us being a little bit more productive on the offensive side.
And he answered exactly how I thought he was going to answer. He's going to use it when they need it. It is an important part of the game at certain points. I would like to see it deployed in maybe some different situations this year. But that's something that one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with that. I don't think they're going to sell out for the small ball like they did last year. Again, I'm not a small ball hater, but I didn't think at times it was the best thing. It was the best strategy for the team. Ben and Woods also asked Craig Stammen, how does he plan to value analytics?
Yeah, we've got a great department, research and development department, analytics, whatever you want to call it. People that are diving into the numbers, diving into the, biomechanics and the strength and conditioning, all that kind of stuff works together. We're always constantly looking for that one avenue to make one of our players just a little bit better, or, make a process within our team just a little bit better that gives us an advantage on the field. Obviously, Petco Park is an amazing stadium, the best stadium in the big leagues. But it does offer some, struggles for the offense a little bit, when the ball gets up in the air at night. However, there's some home run. There's still home runs hit in this ballpark.
Yep.
And, we've got to embrace like what this ballpark brings to us. And I know we had the kind of saying of Petco Park hitting last year, and we've still got to embrace that idea of being able to hit in this ballpark and not use it as a crutch for struggling. So I think there's some things that we can dive into and look back and see like what's the best way to create offense in this ballpark and to score as many runs as we can. And you can score runs in many ways, and we're going to figure out all those ways to do that. But, the other teams that come in here and hit against us, they're not, maybe they are complaining about it, but they're also trying to score runs too. And it's just, if we can score one more run than they can.
I thought that was a really great answer, and I'm going to go back to a part, and I might have to find it live on the air.
Last year, and we've still got to embrace that idea of being able to hit in this ballpark and not use it as a crutch.
There it is. I like this quote.
To being able to hit in this ballpark and not use it as a crutch.
Because it does sometimes seem like we go in that direction, which is the truth. I mean, Petco Park is not one of the most highly rated stadiums in baseball for home run hitting. But as he said at the end there, other teams come in here and he doesn't hear about them complaining about it. And I can probably confirm that because it seems like other teams are hitting more home runs than the Padres do at home. So I like that he's not allowing something like Petco Park is not a hitter's park to be an excuse. I do like that. And I hope that they can figure out how to hit at Petco Park. And I hope that they can figure out how to up the power numbers. And Craig Stammen, he knows what he's talking about. He did the baseball stuff for a very long time. And it's interesting to hear him in this kind of setting. Like, he's the manager. So he's giving us his breakdown on things. And I like what I'm hearing so far. Because if you're going to let the Petco Park as a graveyard for hitters be the excuse, then you're probably not going to hit well. You're not going to hit for power because you already think, hey, this is Petco Park's problem, not my problem. So I like that. I like that he went through that, went to that, and he said that it's not an excuse. So if you want to hear the full interview with Craig Stammen on Ben and Woods, again, go to 973thefansd.com. This was on Wednesday, and so you'll be able to find it there. You'll also be able to find it Ben and Woods on Twitter. You can find it at 973thefansd on Twitter, and you could also go to the Odyssey app. Go back to Wednesday and find the segment with Craig Stammen. Matt Skraby, going into the final segment, before we play Elsie Harrington, I'm going to give the biggest fan, and that's going to be after the break. So it will be the last biggest fan of the week, but when we get back, I'll announce that. And also, who is Elsie Harrington? We'll talk about it, and we'll hear from him next.
Ben and Wood.
The gondola pulls in.
Yeah.
It goes very slow.
Yeah, it slows down
like
for everybody.
really slow. As we're getting off, over to my left, there's a couple getting in the gondola, going up the mountain. So it's the opposite for them. They're standing there. The gondola comes up. The door opens. You step on. Well, there was a commotion.
Uh-oh.
There was a commotion.
Someone fell?
There was a commotion, and Lori goes, hey, there's a commotion.
She said commotion?
I don't think she said that, but we go kind of not hustling, but walking over there quickly. There's a lady
who has fallen as she's trying to get into the gondola. She's now got one leg in the gondola.
Oh, no!
The other leg and body trapped underneath the gondola.
90.
No, she's probably in her late 50s. How do I say this best?
Oh, she's heavy set?
She's in the shape of somebody who's in their 70s. You've got to rescue the poor lady. She's trapped under the gondola. Of course, as soon as she falls and there's the commotion, the guy running the station stops the gondola.
Okay, I was going to
Which means everybody on the mountain and 4 miles away has to stop. Everybody has to stop while we try to extricate the lady from the gondola.
Okay, let me ask you a
underneath
question.
the gondola.
Look.
She's got one leg on the gondola. The rest of her body is underneath the gondola. And when I arrive to see what's going on, I'm kind of the first or second person there.
You're a first responder?
Pretty much. The guy running the gondola place is busy stopping
Traffic,
the ride.
yeah.
No, he's stopping the ride.
Oh, okay, all right.
So we're kind of first there. Lori's behind me. The lady's on her back. She's looking straight up in the air. And the only description I have is one of utter panic and utter terror combined with total helplessness.
Oh, I thought you were going to say embarrassment.
No, total helplessness. She's not only trapped, but she's not even remotely doing anything to help herself. She's kind of in a panic, and you think something terrible is going to happen, or she does.
Okay.
I go over there. First thing, breathe.
That's what you said?
I told the lady to
That's
breathe.
good. That's good.
I said, you're going to be okay.
That's good.
Just breathe.
That's good.
Try to relax.
That was the perfect thing you could have said.
As I'm stupidly pulling this 250-pound gondola,
I
trying
thought
to
you were gonna
pull
say
it
the
off
woman.
of her. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're getting
The gondola
an
is
idea.
way heavier than 250
Yeah, right.
pounds.
1,000-pound gondola.
So you're trying to like
I'm
move the
trying
gondola.
to
Is
just
she-
move it a little to.
Is her leg like? How is she attached to this gondola?
Well, I told you, her one leg's actually on the gondola in the doorway.
Okay.
Then the rest of her body's underneath. What is stuck with her in the gondola is her belly, not her leg.
Oh no.
That's right. Okay. So I'm pulling. By the time finally a couple more people pull and we are able to get enough airway to get her to scramble out of there. And then she immediately stepped on the gondola to go take her ride up the mountain. And
What?
off she went.
This is.
I felt like I saved her life. I really do. I honestly feel like I almost saved her life.
I kind of will credit you with this.
You know, she was. I think if I didn't tell her to breathe, I think she would have gone into some sort of shock or whatever you do.
No,
she
you're
was going
right.
into a
You're right.
panic, Skraby.
You're
She was going
absolutely
into
right.
an absolute panic, and you know, I had to calming her down. I think was the number one thing. She wasn't in any real danger, but she wasn't feeling great because she was trapped under the gondola.
But
the
the
look
fact
on-
that you said her belly was.
Yes, her belly. Yeah. I'm telling you, Scrabe, it was a factor. And there was, there's a couple of people pulling on an arm trying to drag her out.
I'm crying.
I know. There's people on the other side with her arm. They're trying to drag her. I'm like lifting the gondola so she can get a little room to get out of there.
You're like, hey, I'm going to take the gondola. It's lighter.
All right. I didn't say that. You did. But it was quite the scene.
I am happy that she's okay, obviously.
She's fine.
If
She
this
got
was
right on the gondola.
If this was a worse story, I would not be laughing. But she's fine. You did probably help her a lot more than you think you did.
I think so. Because she was able to calm down just a tad. The gondola pulls in.
Yeah.
It goes very slow.
Yeah, it slows down
like
for everybody.
really slow. As we're getting off, over to my left, there's a couple getting in the gondola, going up the mountain. So it's the opposite for them. They're standing there. The gondola comes up. The door opens. You step on. Well, there was a commotion.
Uh-oh.
There was a commotion.
I'm going to give the name for the biggest fan in just a second, but I got a text from my girlfriend, and she said, Snorlax fits for me. I don't want to be a Snorlax. So I texted back, what? I don't want to be a chubby, sleepy Pokemon. And she said he's cute. I'm not buying it. I don't like Snorlax the Pokemon. I don't want to be compared to the large, sleepy guy. But she said it was cute, so maybe he is cute. I don't know. I don't think Snorlax is cute. It's kind of annoying, actually. All right, time for the biggest fan. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Darlene Budd of El Cajon. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize. 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all of the fan staff later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. I do love it when I don't love it when people are like upset, but SD Mike says, or I'm sorry, Katie said wrong name. I know. Darlene Budd, El Cajon, 833-288-0973. Your time starts now. Chat gets really upset when their name is not called. And I understand why, because they want to go and do this 20 tickets to a game. But we still have a couple weeks left, everyone. Still plenty of names to go around. I promise. I really do. Matt Skraby, last segment of Gwynn and Chris, last segment of the week. I do not have a Skraby show tonight. I have been talking for the last 4 hours, and if I keep talking, then I will probably say something I regret. So no Skraby show tonight, but you can go back to the 2 p.m. hour if you would like, and you can go back on the YouTube and watch, because we've had a full show. Jake Garegnani of CBS 8 came in and completely, if there's one thing you need to go back and watch. So last night on my Skraby show live, actually, I think Darlene is calling in right now. Hold on. Darlene, you're on the air. Is that you? Is this Darlene?
That is me. You called my name.
I did. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for calling back. You are confirmed to be in on this prize, so you may be drawn for this, okay?
Okay, thank you, and wish me luck.
I will wish you luck. I like Darlene. Thank you, Darlene. Darlene called in. So if you want to sign up, go to 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. I forgot where I was going before I got into Darlene. This is unfortunate. I could just go back and talk about Pokemon, but I'm not going to. Man, I really wish I didn't do that sometimes. And I really wish I wasn't called a Snorlax. All right. We got traffic. And then hopefully, Rubik's Cube Challenge. Thank you, Katrina. So I did the Rubik's Cube Challenge last night, and I gave myself 45 minutes to do the challenge. I did not accomplish the goal. Did not even come close to accomplishing the goal. If you want to go and see this, you can just go youtube.com/the Skraby Show, SKRAB as in boy, Y. So Jake Garegnani of CBS 8 comes in today, and I was telling Adam and Jake and Adam, I did this Rubik's Cube thing last night, did not get anywhere with it. And Jake's like, oh, I could do a Rubik's Cube in like 5 minutes. I'm like, no, you can't. 5 minutes? Really? 5 minutes? Less than 5 minutes? He said, yep, I got this. So I said, all right, let's do it on the show. And I handed him the Rubik's Cube, and he finished it in less than 5 minutes. And you could see this on the YouTube stream. So go to @Gwynn and Chris SD or go to @973thefansd. And Jake completely surprised me because he was able to solve this thing like it was no problem. And he kept trying to explain to me, as everyone was last night on the chat, it's just an algorithm, dude. And I'm like, I know it's an algorithm, but I can't. My brain does not do algorithms. But anyway, if you want to go back and watch that, it's about 45 minutes or so in to this broadcast. And I think it's impressive enough that you should go back and watch it. So 45 minutes into this broadcast is when he does it on the camera. And he still gives takes and everything on sports. So I'm very impressed. Very, very, very impressed with Jake Garegnani and his Rubik's Cube skills. All right, Darlene has called in. We have traffic. After traffic, you're going to get to know freshman Aztecs basketball player LZ Harrington.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Well, guys, if our roads are any indication, looks like a lot of folks might have left work early to avoid the mess and are already kicking back at home with a cocktail or other refreshing beverage. Just a couple things I need to mention here. Southbound side of the 15, right past Miramar Road, there is an accident involving a couple vehicles. It's over to the right shoulder. Also reports of a crash on eastbound King Freeway before College. This one is blocking the two right lanes. If you are still out and about on the roads, easy does it. Just take it extra carefully, especially on those transition ramps. We'll get you home so you can start your weekend. A message from Valvoline Instant Oil Change. You can't avoid holiday traffic or your relatives, but you can avoid car trouble. Swing by Valvoline Instant Oil Change before Thanksgiving. It's your 15-minute drive-through oil change. No appointment needed. Find your nearest location and grab money-saving coupons at SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Our next guest having a good start to his freshman season. LZ Harrington joins us, freshman guard on the Aztecs hoop team. LZ, how are you doing, man? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm good. Just got out of practice like an hour ago. Yeah, I'm good.
LZ, you guys, you showed up, I would assume. At what point did you get on campus and start to kind of assimilate yourself?
Well, we started, I want to say our summer session started July 7th. But me and Tay got here a little early. We got here like June, like the second week of June.
So you guys
started doing workouts and stuff. We've been here for a minute, yeah.
So you guys have been here for a minute. Season starts. You guys are off to a pretty good start. You're getting some good minutes, being able to contribute. What's been your takeaway being on the Mesa for as long as you've been here since June and the start to the season so far?
I mean, honestly, it's just been really fun. I think practice every day, like how hard practice is, has prepared me so well for the games. Like it's made the games, I don't want to say easy, but like it feels easy just compared to what I'm used to seeing every day. But yeah, it's just been fun, and I'm so grateful that the coaches trust me enough to play me as much as they've been playing me, and I'm super excited, to continue next week with Troy, and then we get to go to Vegas.
Yeah, you guys, the schedule seems to start to get a little bit tougher as we move forward. You come in to San Diego State with a pretty decorated high school career. I mean, you had opportunities to go, through the old Pac-12, USC, UCLA, Arizona State, even a place like Harvard. What was it about San Diego State that, grabbed your attention and had you wanting to be a part of it?
I mean, the biggest thing for me was just like the family culture. I know you've heard that before. It's just like how the coaches and the players treat everybody. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, yeah, we're basketball players, but we're humans first. And so like human stuff that comes up, like they're giving with that, and like it won't affect your minutes or how much they believe in you on the basketball court. Like they understand that we're people first, and they really pour into that aspect of our life. So like that's the biggest thing for me.
Talking to LZ Harrington of the Aztecs basketball team here on 97.3 The Fan. And as Tony pointed out, you were very decorated in high school. You were named Max Preps California All-State Teams, CIF Southern Section All-Open Division Team, Trinity League Co-MVP. I could go on and on and on. But what are some of your goals now that you're at the college level, and what are you trying to accomplish this year?
So I feel like most of my goals right now are team-based because I don't really want to get caught up in like player goals because that's when you put unnecessary pressure on yourself, in my opinion. So like as a team, I feel like we're so good and we should win the Mountain West and we should go deep in the tournament. Like I don't like my goals as a team are more on my mind than self goals, but like I'd be lying if I said I don't want to be like the freshman of the year in the Mountain West and like I don't want to go to the NBA and I don't want to do those things. But like I just think as a team we should definitely win the last year of the Mountain West and like I feel like we have the team and we have the depth to go really far in the tournament. So those are my two main goals.
Yeah, look, there's no shame in wanting to accomplish those things. I think us Aztecs fans want you to accomplish those things. It generally mean that the team is probably playing pretty well. You guys, as I mentioned, you guys getting ready to start playing the tougher part of the schedule, right? Troy next week. You move into the players tournament there. You got Michigan, you got Oregon, and perhaps some other tough teams. I mean, how much did that getting a taste of that kind of play when you guys scrimmaged against UCLA there, how much does that come into play in terms of preparing you for that type of competition?
You're saying like how much did the UCLA game prepare me?
Yeah.
Or just these games before? Yeah, I think UCLA, it was really good that we got to play a top team first because for one, it makes it like it can't get any harder than this. Like that's your mindset, especially not playing a college game before.
Right.
You play UCLA first and you're like, okay, this is the best of the best. So that was really good. But honestly, by the second half, by the time I was out there, I was like, it's just basketball.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it helped me realize that just because they're a top team, like we're still out there playing basketball and it's the same game. And it's honestly more fun when the teams are good, in my opinion. Like it brings the best out of you. And so those are games I look forward to the most. And yeah, I'm super grateful for that UCLA game, and I'm super excited for all the big games we have coming up.
You guys were able to kind of dismantle Long Beach State, Idaho State, gave the best effort they could, but you guys pretty much handled them as well. I mean, in terms of how you fit into this rotation and the things that you bring to the table, just talk a little bit about those things. We saw you kind of handle the ball on the break. I saw you finish on the break. What's the strongest part of your game right now, you think?
I just think I've been a playmaker my whole high school career, and so I think that's just what I have the most reps at is making plays, whether that's passing or scoring. Yeah, I think that's probably my best attribute. Like I feel like I'm good at thinking the game and like figuring out what's gonna work versus what's not gonna work. But I also understand like we have a lot of playmakers on our team too, and so it's not always about that. It's about how can I affect the game on the defensive end and how can I try to get a rebound. That's something I'm trying to work on. And I'm really learning that there's so many different ways you can affect the game that you don't need the ball in your hands. Like you can do so much. And so I think that's another big benefit of me coming to school here is having to play with a bunch of talented guys. Yeah.
Freshman hooper LZ Harrington joins us here. Freshman on the San Diego State hoop team. And LZ, was it difficult when you first got acclimated? And I know coming in that this program is about defense. How was it everything you expected when you got on campus, or was it a little bit of shock to the system?
I mean, I don't know how to answer that. So, like, I knew, like, people can tell you one thing, but then when you experience it, it's totally different. So, like, I've heard, practices are hard and it's a lot of defense and it's a grind and all that. And, like, when you hear that, you're like, okay, but you can't really prepare for it until you're in it. And so, yeah, being thrown in the fire the first however long practice was really rough, honestly. It was really physical. But, I mean, that's what you want, though. Like, you grow in uncomfortable situations. And so I feel like, I mean, it served me well. And like I said, it's made the games feel a lot better because I feel like I'm overly prepared in practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, listen, you got the Mesa, up in a frenzy. I don't know that we've had a freshman that has gotten everybody this excited as you have, man. We certainly are behind you 100%, man. I want to continue to see you do well. Thanks for coming on and spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. LZ Harrington, freshman guard out of Long Beach.
All guests on 97.3 The Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Thank you to LZ Harrington for coming on the show earlier this week. I just had almost a major catastrophe during that interview, and it was scary. I just made it back in the studio about a minute ago. I went downstairs to get my water bottle out of the car, and I made sure I had my wallet, my pass, so I can get back in and everything like that. But I got to the front doors, and sometimes they do this, and it freaked me out. But they don't open sometimes when you scan your card. So I was sitting there thinking, what if this interview ends and I am not back in the studio in time? And I went down the rabbit hole while I was waiting downstairs. That was scary. That was absolutely scary. I had visions of the station just doing nothing and playing blank music, blank sound, basically. So silent sound. I don't even know what to call it. But I went around to the side of the building because I saw people leaving, and they had already closed the door, and they were far enough away that I couldn't call them back to let me in. And so I shook the door, didn't work, went and I got my pass and I used it, didn't work. And so I panicked. I nearly called at him. I nearly called him because I didn't know what to do. And there's no one in the building with me. But eventually I found my way back in. And I don't need to be scared anymore. Katrina said, us old timers call it dead air. The sound of silence is the appropriate term. Dead air would have been nice to think about when I was trying to explain that. But all right, that's it for today's show of Gwynn and Chris. I hope everybody enjoyed the Skraby / Jake Garegnani / Kirk Kenney / Adam Klug show. We have a big weekend ahead, and I'm saying big weekend because my niece is turning 3 tomorrow. So I would like to say happy birthday to my little niece Lydia, and I'm going to be going to get her a present right after the show. So if you have a niece out there, just tell them you love her. You love them because they need that. But she's going to be 3 years old. She's the cutest. She loves spooky stories. She loves ghosts. She's like me, really. She loves all the scary stuff, which I think is awesome for a 3-year-old to like. But she has her birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to be going to that Sunday, just watching some football. I also need to clean my bedroom. I need to get in there and do a deep clean on my bedroom, which I'm not looking forward to. So wish me luck. But thank you to everybody who joined us today. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that joins us all week long. We'll be back on Monday. More Gwynn and Chris. Ben and Wood start at 6 a.m. Braden's Apprentice show with, I believe, Sammy Levitt filling in for Braden on Monday. So you'll hear from Sam on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. I appreciate you all. Be safe in this rain. Good night.